We're doing it. 3, 2, 1, go. And we are live.
What up? Welcome everybody to MLG My Basement.
You're not lying, actually. All right.
Actually, I'm in my office. I don't have a basement. It's just a crawl space.
Well, it doesn't matter where you are now because you have that cool background replacement thing. Oh, wow. Look at all these people that have been waiting for us in here. Look at them.
No way.
Look at all
no
these
way.
people.
I didn't even open the YouTube yet. Hold on. I'm behind.
They lovers us. They really do.
I don't know.
They love
They're here
us.
just to talk shit.
I mean,
I bet. There's probably nothing but complaints.
You know what, though? Every person that comes here to talk shit still boosts our analytics and gets us out to more people, so it's a wash. It's pretty good.
True. That's true.
Yeah, so it's like you got to look at it that way. You got to be like, actually, I found out a long time ago, especially like when I was really at the height of my YouTube career, when I was hitting like 12 million views a month on my channel. I found that the trolls actually got me more views than the actual viewers. Because
that's why you were seeing so much hate content and stuff around these days. Everybody just wants to bitch and moan.
Yeah, because you know how I found that out? I found it out the hard way. I started filtering my comments. Like I put in like filters to filter certain words and certain phrases and stuff. And so when I did that, I had less comments, which meant that I also had less likes because people would like and then their comment wouldn't show up and they'd be like, oh, fuck that, and take their like back or change it to dislike. But when you disable that stuff, you just disappear out of SEO and search altogether. Hey, Blue Varo, what's up, my man? Woo! Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the $5, man. He said he loved us long time. Long time.
Oh man, I've seen this. You got to check this. Actually, I started talking about it before. I got to find it first. But there's this new like modular mixer or audio interface thing that looked really rad. I've been seeing some stuff. I think who's making it though?
Is it that company that makes the really overly expensive stuff, but it's like really cool? We talked about him a couple of streams ago.
I don't know. Let me see.
Somebody on chat will know what we're talking about. But yeah, it was. I remember it was a company you showed me where they made all these different like little musical instruments and audio interface. They lay flat on your desk with like knobs and dials and shit on them. But they were like stupid expensive. They were like
no. It's got to be a little. I mean, I'm sure it's a little expensive, but
well, what does it do?
Oh bugger.
Dude, did you see the AI camera?
It's like a stream deck, right, with the buttons. But then it had like a little plug thing for like a knob and some swoopy things.
I don't know what that is. Okay, yeah, no, I've never heard of that.
Heck, nabbit. I've been seeing some ads and stuff for it, and here it's probably like we'll go like
that sounds kind of cool.
Alternative.
Dude, I've been seeing some crazy stuff. Like, did you see the AI camera that's in development right now? So they're literally making a camera where you film in real time. Like, it's not available to the public yet. It's in beta. Like, the company, it looks stupid. It looks like it was put together in a garage.
Cooler Master.
Dude, it uses AI live with your video. So you're like recording somebody like skateboarding, for instance. And it's actually using Stable Diffusion in the background as you're recording and morphing that video frame by frame using Stable Diffusion to like you could say skateboarder, I want a skateboarder in space, and then record the skateboarder like in Seattle skateboarding, and then it'll take that skateboarder and put him into space, like into a space environment.
What?
Dude, it was crazy. Cool. I mean, obviously it's like very glitchy right now, and you can see like between the frames there's a lot of like jitter and stuff like that. But with how good AI has been getting with video, you know, just like even music, like with Suno AI and stuff like that, you see this like massive increase in not just performance, but also fidelity of the end result. So now they're like, why don't we just build this stuff into cameras? And one of the other features of the camera is it just figures out how to edit the video and make it for you. So it said, all you do is you just explain to the camera, like what your goal is. Like I'm trying to create like a podcast of two, nerds talking about shit. Right. And it will edit that together. Like as you're filming it, it'll do the jump cuts. It'll do the punch-ins. It'll use AI to add stuff into the background, like live as you're recording. Well, it said at the end it does like processing, right? Like at the end when you stop recording, then it goes processing and it does it. But then it just craps out like a fully edited video that's like all the editing's done, all the music has been added. It'll go and try to source stuff on the internet, and insert it. Like if you're talking about like a Boeing crash or something, it'll go check the latest news, extract imagery from it, and add it into the video. And then it said that the video, you can download the video project from the camera, and then it has like all the jump cuts and all the stuff. So if you need to replace like a certain, like if it fucks something up, you can just do a couple little replacements and like fix stuff. But I was like, dude, if we start heading in that direction, it's going to get to the point where your phone, because this will all go to the phone, right? Anything that happens on the bigger technology always trickles to the phone. So just let's say 5-10 years, you pull your phone out of your pocket and you're just like, hey Siri, I want to record. I shouldn't say that. Stop. Cancel. Hey, Billie Jean. Make me
robot.
I want to record a video of this, this rocket taking off a pad, but I want to make it look like it's on Mars. And I want it to be the most viral video on the internet. So look at all the TikTok videos that are the top 10 or whatever and try to take things from each one of them and put them into my video. And then you just like record the rocket taking off and then you say done. And then you just like 15 minutes later, it's like, oh, your video's done. And you post it to TikTok and now you have like this fully CGI with music and everything. Like, but it still captures your movements. Like it's clear that you're the one moving the camera and you're the one that's like, setting the pace of the recording, but then it's replacing everything in the video in real time. Well, I shouldn't say real time because it's happening afterwards, but I was like, dude, it's going to get to the point now where it's like musicians, video editors, all these people are going to be out of a goddamn job. Like, I mean, at the smaller level, not at the high level, not at the commercial level, not at the movie making level. But I'm saying like people that normally go to Fiverr won't go to Fiverr.
I feel like it's so tough to get. I think for some small stuff, and we're going to see definitely some interesting, I'd say like medium to long form content, but it's still so cheesy. It's so plastic looking. It's so even now, I'm bugged with how much they're using like LED volumes and stuff. I can tell the depth is wrong. The depth doesn't look right. And it's almost given like a weird like soap opera look.
Will you admit, though, that it looks better than it did 6 months ago or a year ago? Like, do you see progress?
Yeah. I mean, generative video for sure. Yeah. I mean, just look at the difference. Like, what was that? The Will Smith eating spaghetti thing?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, right.
It has gotten a lot better, but it's still. And of course, this is the worst it's ever going to be. And in 5 years, you probably won't tell the difference. Like, I mean, like a lot of CG. You can't tell.
You know what I think the big change is going to be, honestly, is not generative AI, although that will still continue to evolve, right? But I don't think generative AI is basically just like doing a frame-by-frame representation of take a cue, whether it be text, image, or video, or audio, or whatever, take that and then try to create a visual representation of it based on a bunch of learning and patterns, right? That doesn't always produce the best result frame to frame. Like you saw Corridor Crew figured out how to add a bunch of noise and smoothing and stuff to actually get like a really good anime result out of it, which I thought was phenomenal.
Yes.
And now there's even an open source project that does that.
Better and better.
Yeah, there's an open source project now that'll do their workflow for you. So you don't even have to do all those steps. You just basically go and you train it, you say, hey, do my little video, and boom, it pops out, craps out. I haven't played with it personally, but they basically based the project on what Corridor did. They just took their workflow and created scripts and stuff to do it with Python.
Right on.
But where I think it's going to get crazy is when the AI stops taking the angle of generative AI. Like, let's try to create a frame that looks similar to the last frame, but closer to the goal. Instead of doing something like that, what happens when AI starts controlling the tools themselves? So now instead of saying, hey, create an image of a rocket taking off, what it does now is it opens up Blender. It dynamically creates all the prompts and everything to go into Blender and learns how to model an actual spaceship in Blender or pull in an asset from a free library somewhere online and modify it, then put in the timeline and then frame by frame animate it using the actual tools so that the end result is perfectly cohesive. And then the AI acts more like it's emulating the user sitting there creating the creative work instead of just trying to approximate what the end result would look like. I think if it went that direction, it would take a lot more processing power, obviously. But I think if you took that direction over time, you could train a model to just be to cohesively crank out like one type of content. Like be like, I want to train a model to create like an anime series, and then you just train it so much that it can't do anything else. Like it literally, to save its life, it can't do anything else. But if you just crank in a story and you say, here is my writing, here's my book, turn this book into an anime, it can just do it phenomenally. And I think that could be possible like in the next couple of years, like to where it could do that convincingly where you wouldn't think it was an AI doing the actual drawing. And I think that's going to be wild, like when that stuff happens. But I do think that for every job it replaces, it could potentially create a new job. But the problem, but the scary thing about it, and I understand where the people are coming from, like the musicians and stuff are getting really worried about like Suno and stuff like that. That shit's actually scaring them now. And I understand it because like they spent so many years learning how to play instruments, learning how to master audio and everything. It's like that's what made them unique and made their craft desirable. Yeah. And it's like if somebody else can emulate that a lot cheaper, well, their value intrinsically comes down, right? They can't charge the same that they once were to the masses. They might get, like you said, some people that want the human touch. But again, you're always going to have people selling shit as human. Like, if you go to Fiverr right now, you'll notice that there's tons and tons of music things with like hundreds of thousands of reviews that are like, I will make you a music song, like an intro for your video for like $5. And it's like, there's no way they could do that before. Like those prices only came down to this level after AI, which means a lot of these people are using things like Suno and GitHub projects and stuff. They might have massaged it a little bit to give it their own signature, but they are literally selling AI as human created. And these people are like, oh, this is human created and nothing's copyright matching on it. So they have no reason to believe it's not human generated. And I think that's going to dilute the pool of work of the real humans. But then, like, the real humans now have to figure out how to use AI, how to leverage AI to create something new. Like, take their musical skills, intermix those with AI, and then create something that's better than what the average user could create with AI. You know what I mean? Like take their musical skills, pile that on top of what AI can already do, and now they can create something that's even better than what they created before, that's still overall better than what AI can create by itself, and then they still extract value. But a lot of people, I don't think, are looking at that direction because a lot of musicians aren't hugely technical people. I mean, some are, obviously, but there's a lot of musicians that, you know, they're not raging computer nerds. They like to play music. They don't like to play Dungeons and Dragons 24/7. So for them, it's going to be a little bit harder to adopt into that AI space and learn how to optimize the workflow and do AI training and stuff like that. That's going to be a little bit more difficult for them to adopt. But I do think that it's going to create new markets for like new markets for people to do things. But what happens? One more thing. What happens when these models just keep getting trained off of the expertise of humans? Because that's what these models do. They effectively just take everything you've done and train it into their model. It's like, so you as a human, everything you publish publicly, whether you like it or not, is teaching the AI how to replace you in some way. Or how to mimic you.
Yeah, I mean that's for sure. Yeah, it's mimicry. There was something I came across recently in sort of the retail world, in particular like clothing and like jewelry and things like that. We all know like the big brands, right? Louis Vuitton and Hermes,
Birkin,
you know, all that shit, right?
Yeah.
There are brands that are beyond them even. Like, and you start getting into literal like custom made one-off, like there are the uber rich, they don't even buy some of that shit doesn't even come from LVMH or Gucci or whatever. Like Gucci's like cheese ball when you have a guy who makes all of your clothes. You know, from your fucking t-shirts to your socks, everything is handmade, one off to you, perfect. You know, you have some guy made your wristwatch. It's the only one that exists. He fucking smelted that thing down to or whatever. And like, you don't ever hear about that stuff. We're talking and you know, and I feel like you're going to start seeing that sort of stratification where like the commodity stuff is going to be, and I feel like you're going to be able to tell. You can tell a McDonald's burger versus even just a Red Robin burger, right? Versus going to Roy's or something and getting a nice fucking steak, you know, that kind of thing. And so I think you're going to start seeing that sort of stratification. Like everybody's going to just assume that the jingle or the commercial for Tide had like 2 humans involved, right? Just decision makers or a prompt engineer and like somebody to tidy it up a little bit. Yeah. And even that the tidying guy was probably using AI tools and stuff. It's more just like a giving the thumbs up on it.
Yep.
But yeah, I think there will always be a space and there will be new skills that will have to be learned. I always come back to the roto brush thing, right? It used to be somebody's sole job was just roto brushing, was rotoscoping.
Oh, rotoscoping. Like, yep.
Hand cutting out people frame by frame by frame. You don't have to do that anymore. Yep. I mean, the person who the rotoscoper does more things now. It's more than just that. Like they double click with the roto brush too, and they got to clean up the edges a little bit. But now they're able to knock out what would have taken like a 3-month project in like 2 weeks.
Yep.
So now they're getting more done. They can do other things. They can learn how to color grade or whatever. You're going to start. I think it's going to make things a lot easier. I think people are still going to have to be creative because that's still the lack, right? Is creativity, and we're starting to see, and this stuff's only been big for like a couple years now. Shit, I think my ChatGPT subscription is only a year or a little more than a year old. If that, not even a year, right? It was November of last year. Not even a year.
Yeah, I've been messing with AI since ChatGPT 3.0, so for me, it's probably been about 2.5, 3 years now. But that's not a long period of time when you consider what it came from and where it is today. It's wild how fast it's evolving.
And they're starting to have problems. They're starting to be self-referential, and it's fucking up the models. You're getting generated content feeding back into the models, and it's not good.
It's Cronenberging.
They're still. Cronin. I don't know. Heard of that?
Sorry, Cronenberg. I think he was like a famous like artist or illustrator that was known for making like grotesque pieces of work. And so like think of like like Cronin. I can't remember his first name, but his work is pretty disgusting.
I've seen some beers. 1664 beer.
Let me see if I can find it here.
K, right?
David Cronenberg.
Art.
He was known for like doing films that had like a lot of disgusting creatures and aliens and stuff in them. Let me see if I can find some of his stuff. He did some pretty crazy stuff. Let's see. Why can't I find anything on here? Hey, it's
with a C. That's why.
Okay, so Cronenberg.
Oh, he did. What is this? District 9? No, that's The Fly. That's The Fly. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he did. Oh yeah. The Fly. The Fly is probably one of the things he's most well known for. Is and you remember like how grotesque that creature looked coming out of the pod. So
right? Yeah,
so he was really known for like his grody creatures. Even Rick and Morty did a joke about him, like where they Cronenberg the world, where everybody just had like multiple eyes and everybody was deformed and had like different legs from different creatures and stuff like that. So super crazy grotesque stuff. But if you train the AI on itself, which you can do, by the way, a lot of text AIs and language AIs will create content themselves to fill in the gaps. What they'll do is they'll use another AI, or what they call an agent, right? A different expert, and they'll bring in a different expert, and then they'll say, hey, which of you experts is best at this topic? And then they all deliberate and say who came up with the best result, and then whoever came up with the best result, they'll retrain that into the system for the other agents.
Sure.
And by doing that, they can actually like refine things. But again, if you go too many generations, just like with cloning, you end up destroying it. You end up doing damage, right? If you keep just feeding the same thing in over and over again, because you'll effectively, since it's all based on weights, if you feed in the same trash 5 million times, it'll start overtaking what is true. The falsehood will become the new truth. And so it's really hard to manage that. And the bigger the data set gets, the harder it is for humans to correct that. Because one of the biggest problems that needs to be solved with AI, and I don't even know if it can be solved with the current state of how it works, is you can't really undo stuff. So if AI goes in and decides a car is a bicycle, right? But you're so far into the model that you can't correct it now, right? It's so far down the road that it's learned everything else in the world. There's no way to just take out the bicycle. You can retrain a bunch of stuff into it to try to make it favor that the bicycle is now a car again, but you can't just go back and undo it and say, hey, unlearn that one really specific piece of information, because that piece of information is also a seed for everything else. Think of it like a blockchain. Like everything else that was trained was built upon that. And so if you undo that one little bit, you basically invalidate all the training afterwards. So you have to just keep adding patches, basically. So if the AI ends up, learning something wrong, but it's like 90% right, but then 10% wrong, then you have to focus on training it in that 10% arena aggressively so that you can put enough information in there to override the weights of the wrong answer. But by doing that, you could also fuck up everything that it trains in the future from that point on, if it has any relation or any patterns that match with the whole bicycle or car analogy. Which you'd be surprised. There's a lot of things, like even if you're not talking about a car, you could be talking about a wheel. You could be talking about a bolt on a wheel. You could be talking about a part that's linked to a car. You could be talking about the metal, like just talking about metal, and metal links to like what the car is made out of. And those things could still tie other topics into it to human would seem completely unrelated. But on a language level, they are related and they can start bleeding together. So you end up with AI doing this thing where it Dunning-Kruger's basically. So AI will train up to the point, and they try to keep it there. But if they overtrain it, then it comes back down and becomes really stupid again. So now the way that I understand that they're solving this is by, instead of overtraining the AI, they just introduce more agents. So get an AI to where it's trained, where it's up at the peak of Dunning-Kruger, where It's got about as enough knowledge and experience as it can, where it's like as good as it can get. And then you bring in other agents to train them up in other areas, and then you let all those agents in parallel work together to solve a problem instead of just having one agent be a know-it-all. And that seems to work pretty good, as I understand it. But the biggest problem we're running into with AI right now is the same problem we have with cryptocurrency, and that is the amount of power and the amount of bandwidth that's required to satiate AI is already so far beyond what we thought. That we don't even know how we're going to handle it. Like, I watched a thing the other night that said that, like, the biggest data center in the United States is, like, located in one state. There's, like, one state that has this massive hub. It's like all the internet traffic goes through this one state in the United States where, like, they call it Data Center Alley or Data Center City or something. It's all data centers. Like, this whole thing is just for miles and miles and miles. It's just data center buildings. No logos, no markings, nothing. Just pure, unadulterated data center. And I can't remember which state it was, but they said that they're already running into problems now where they don't have enough land. Like, you've already run out of land. AI has already overdeveloped the space that was supposed to be good for like the next 20 years. Like, in 5 years, it's already been overwhelmed. And they don't have the power. They don't have they can't bring in enough power. They can't bring in enough cooling. They can't they literally cannot satiate it. So now
that's fine.
So what Nvidia is doing now is this idea of like micro data centers, where now instead of deploying one huge data center thing at scale, they're just deploying data centers in these little residential areas and shit, like buying a house and just like putting a data center in the basement and then like not marking the house or putting anything on it, just so there's this data center just sitting in the middle of a community that's using the power that, you know, the excess power that community has in the water and everything. And they just put these all over the place and they're just unmarked. So, and I thought that this was kind of crazy because it's like, yeah, they'll buy up like a building. Like, if you're just walking through downtown California or whatever, and you're in a residential area and you suddenly just see what looks like an old condo or an office building that, you know, is just all the blinds are closed. There's not that many cars parked out front. That's probably a data center. That's probably that probably got bought up by like Nvidia or AWS or something like that, converted into a micro data center, because now it's to the point where the economy of scale is like not even possible now. Like it costs so much more to try to keep everything in one area because they're running out of space. They'd have to start buying people's houses and demolishing them. They'd have to start putting in more power plants and stuff like that. And the grid probably couldn't even handle the amount of power that was needed. So they'd have to figure out how to build power plants near the site. So instead they're like, well, now the next best thing that used to be an expensive option is actually the cheaper option now. And that is just buy out little bits of spaces and office buildings and stuff in communities and outfit them and turn them into little data centers. So it's crazy. So I don't really know. There's no map that I found that shows like the distribution of these little micro data centers. It's only that Nvidia acknowledges that they do have a lot of these small data centers like littered throughout the United States. But again, it's like the amount of power that we're requesting from the system is astronomical. Like, if you think about it, just for me to do AI on my computer at home, like if I don't want to use the data center, right, and I want to do it locally, I'm using like a 4090, right? That's drawing 500 watts of power. It's drawing more power than my CPU, motherboard, my hard drive, everything. It's like this one GPU is drawing all that power, and that's just to serve me.
Right. There's no way you're maxing your GPU on a pre-trained model.
What do you mean?
If you're already playing, if you're just loading like Llama into memory, that isn't going to draw that much power. The model's already trained. All of the hard work is done in the training, is in the creation of the model. Once you have the model trained and weighted and everything like done, it doesn't take much to.
Yes and no.
It takes memory. You got to hold all the info and stuff, right? But just to talk to it and manipulate it and stuff doesn't take too much.
There's a little bit of trouble. There's a misconception.
Everybody's trying to train their own models. And that's drawing up a lot of power and stuff. And a lot of people are still trying to do this in the cloud. And all these data centers are trying to hold these models and train on new data and things like that. And that's causing a lot. But if you just want to put it in there, it's no big deal.
Here's the thing, though, is you're right.
Image generation.
So here's the thing you might not be considering, though.
That takes a lot.
This is the thing you might not be considering, though, is yes, you're right. Training is more expensive than lookup. Lookup is astronomically cheaper. But here's the thing you might not be considering is that some of these LLMs are so intricate now with so many agents that even though the training is astronomically more, there are models that can completely saturate a GPU now just on lookup.
I believe it.
So because I've loaded a 20 gig model into LM Studio that basically locked up the computer, ran the GPU up to 99% on the 3D cores, like for floating point, right? 99%, wow. And it sat there for probably a good 5 minutes before it started giving back one word.
Wow.
One word. It was super slow. And because I was using a model with like 5 million tokens or 10 million tokens or something like that. So when you're talking about lookup tables of that size, even though the operation is simple, there's just so much data it has to slog through. Because think about it, at that point, like even 64 bits of precision might not even be enough. So now it has to emulate it and start cutting it up into, it has to almost emulate the lookup because it doesn't have enough memory addresses to go through the entire data set and every single permutation and every single pattern. But there are fast LLMs like we've seen them, right? We've played with LLMs that can do literally thousands of tokens a second using a CPU, right? Even a CPU and a laptop some of these LLMs run super fast real time. Yeah, don't think you need a GPU, guys, to do this stuff. You really don't. Like there are models that'll run on CPU.
OpenAI just put out a mini version of 4, and I think Meta just put out. It's a big one, but they just put out a new Llama, I think, as well recently.
Claude did too. Claude put out a mini Claude. What is it? Claude. It's super fast. Like I tried it in Poe the other night, and I was like, holy shit! I kind of want to run this locally now because it's so freaking fast. It's cheap too. Like if you look at the cost, because Poe is a service I use to aggregate AIs. So when you sign, and I'm not recommending the service, honestly. Like the only reason I'm using it is because I'm on the old billing. They changed the billing to a new model that kind of sucks. It's actually cheaper to just go to the AIs themselves. But it's an aggregator that has probably, I don't know, 100 different AIs under it that you can access, like all the different stuff. And so Claude, there's Claude Instant, there's Claude Instant 100K, so 100,000 tokens. Claude 2 Instant, Claude 3 Sonnet, Claude 3 Opus, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, Claude 3 Haiku, Claude 3 Haiku 200K, Claude 3 Opus 200K, Sonnet 200K, Sonnet 300K, and Claude 2.1 200K. So it's got all the different like Claude models that you can access on here. And you click on it, but there's a cost associated with each one of them. And it'll say like how many tokens per prompt it's going to charge you basically to your account. And a token is like tantamount to, you get like 1 million tokens for $20 or something like that. But to give you an idea, like one Claude 200K, like is like 1,000 tokens to do one prompt. However, their instant model is 50. So you could do what would that be, 20 prompts for the price of one in the larger model. So that's how, and they're charging based on how much processing power you're using. So that means that big model is taking 20 times as much processing power as the smaller model. And so you also have to think about is, you could just grab one big, huge AI and ask it all your questions, and you're probably going to get reasonably decent answers, right? Not on everything, but for most things, because it is a big model. It's highly trained on a big data set. But then you're using a ton of power, and it's super inefficient. So what you want to do is use the model that's best for what you're trying to do. So if you're trying to do something simple like batch scripting, then go find a batch scripting, specific model that's like really small, has almost no cost associated with it, and now it can generate 1,000 tokens a second, which is like a word. A token is like a word. So you could say, ask it a question, and it could just boom, you got your entire response, bang, it just drops on you, and you're done. That's it. And you, from a local computer, just using a CPU. However, you move to the bigger models, and then that same query could take 20 or 30 minutes on your CPU for you to get the answer back. So, but most people don't realize that. Most people are just like, oh, an AI is an AI. Just use GPT-4 or just use this or just use that and ask it everything. But that can be really, really expensive. So what people are trying to do now is use coordinators. So you basically create an AI that is a very small, compact AI that its entire job is just to figure out which AI is best suited for answering the question you're asking. So you basically create a pyramid of AIs. So your first AI, you ask, you say, hey, I want to know how to cook a souffle or whatever. And depending on how much detail you want, like I'm a newbie, I need to learn how to cook a souffle, I know nothing about cooking, blah, blah, blah. Then the coordinator is like a small AI that is just trained on picking the best AI. So it's just trained on what the strengths and weaknesses of other AIs are. And so then it'll go, this is the best AI that you could pick to answer this question at the lowest cost. And so when you build a system like that, and as a matter of fact, iPhone is doing that in their next update with iPhone 18 for Super Siri. So Super Siri is going to be an AI-driven assistant, right? One of the first ones and people are like, it just uses ChatGPT. It does. It actually does use ChatGPT. However, it uses the local model first. It has a very fast local model that the iPhone or the Apple developed. That's really good, by the way. People have said it's amazing that it beta tested it. But what happens when you ask Super Siri a question? it says, can I answer this question locally? Like is what the person asking, am I able to answer that with my knowledge that I have in my small little compact model just running on this phone? And if the answer is yes, it will answer that locally. If the answer is no, then it goes out to ChatGPT and gets a broader response, and then it uses the local AI to kind of like farm it down and double check it and everything, and then it feeds it to the user. But it can also do in-between stuff too, where it'll like send part of the prompt to the local model, part of the prompt to an appropriate third-party model that's out there, and then aggregate the response back together and give it to the user so that it's using your phone as much as possible to get the response, and it's sending the least amount of personal information to the cloud. And I don't know exactly how they do these things. Like apparently they said that they don't send any personal information to the cloud. So like if you put personal information in your prompt, apparently it'll like edit it out, replace it with other information that isn't your personal information, get the answer, and then parse back in the information into the response that it gives back to you. So I don't really know how it's doing it, but apparently Apple's stance is this isn't going to just like leak all your information out to be trained for ChatGPT or whatever. But who knows? You never know. I mean, how many times we've been lied to by OpenAI alone, right? Like all these AI companies lie to us through their teeth. Hey, Kilo Alpha, thank you so much for the 10 pounds, dude. Woo! He said, hey guys, I hope you're both having a good week. Enjoy the stream. I would like to announce something really, really cool. My back is feeling better finally. Not 100%. It's still. I can only stand for maybe 5 minutes tops. But you notice I'm sitting upright today. I've got the 10s only on about a 2, and I usually have it on a 10, and I'm just sweating bullets, hurting really bad. So I don't know what changed, but after like 3 months, my back finally started feeling a little bit better. Just yesterday. Yesterday was the first day where I was able to sit upright in my bed. So normally I have to work to get myself up, and then I have to like try to get up on my legs, and it hurts really bad, and I yelp and whimper just trying to get to the bathroom in the morning. Yesterday, I sat up. I just sat straight up, and I was like, I didn't even notice. I was like half asleep, and I'm like sitting up there, and my wife looks over at me and she goes, "Oh wow, you got it pretty quick." I was like, wait a second, and I stood up, and I was like, whoa, what's going on here? I was like, it hurts in my leg, but it's not hurting in that spot it normally hurts, where it feels like I have like a stabby sticking in me, like I'm getting shanked in my side. I was like, ooh, this is nice. So then I went to the movies, and I made it halfway through the movie before the pain started building. So, but that was like about an hour and a half that I was sitting in a theater chair comfortably until the pain started building. And then by the time I left, I was pretty bad, and I got in the car, and it was kind of hard to drive myself home. But I was like, damn, this is a lot better. Like, and it happened all of a sudden. It's like I've been taking crazy amounts of meds for like 3 months. I wasn't seeing any progress. The steroid injection was a complete flop. It felt like a placebo effect where it was like, I think it's doing something, and then just nothing after. It was lame duck after a week or two. But the fact that I'm starting to feel better now, and I feel better yesterday, and today I feel about the same, a little bit worse for wear, but I think it's because I was out moving around and driving my car with the clutch and everything. I think I just agitated a little bit. Yeah. But it's nowhere near as bad as it's been every day for like the last 3 months. So I'm really hoping that I'm on the mend right now. I'm really hoping that it just took this long for shit to like get past a point. Because I see, dude, I will cry tears of happiness if that's the case. Because I've been in so much agony, and I was so sure that I would never get relief, dude.
Still, take it easy. Take it easy.
Yeah, I am. And even yesterday when I came back from the movie, I just pretty much went and just got into bed and just rested it because I didn't want to risk a flare up. Hey, Michael J. Morrison, long time no see, brother. Thank you for the 20 Canadian dollars. He said to check my messages on X. So, yeah, I'll definitely do that after the stream. I don't show any new message from you. Did you send a message a while ago? Here, let me see. I want to make sure I find this. Michael. Oh, there we go. I found it. Okay, so March 9th? Is that when you sent me a message? All right, yeah. I've got it up on the screen. I'll leave it up on the screen so I can respond to you later. Caged Paps, thank you for the 5 pounds. Oh, look at all these pounds we got coming in today. We got all this like international currencies. Woo! Shout out to when Jerry fixed the Logitech speaker controller volume thing. I still revisit that video. Oh, I'm so embarrassed of that video. If you guys don't know what videos he's talking about, I had a Logitech Z5500, which is a highly sought after, very expensive speaker system. THX certified or whatever back in the day. It was like literally the flagship PC speaker system that you could get back in the day. And the power button broke on mine. So I couldn't turn it on. I couldn't turn it off. So I disassembled and I made a video of me just trying to fix it. And I fucked everything up. Like by the end of the video, it looked like shit. There was glue stuck in the button. The button hardly actuated. I mean, I did fix it. It did ultimately work. So I was successful in the video, but I was very embarrassed with how I took something that looked pristine and basically made it look like somebody just like threw it on the ground and jumped up and down on it and broke it to like get it to work because I didn't know what I was doing. But you guys know me. I'll still publish a video even if it like completely goes sideways. Like, I don't care. Like, if I don't fix the thing, then at least it's entertaining and teaches people what not to do. So I see everything as a win in that respect, right?
Yeah, man.
Totally.
It's learning.
100%. 100%. So yeah, just quick wrap up on that. My back is starting to feel better. I hope it continues down this road. I had my doctor's appointment. What's that?
Sorry, somebody in big letters. Linux is this gamer. Are you guys doing today?
Are you guys doing today? Yes, we are doing. We are indeed doing today. How are you doing today, Linux's gamer? Are you doing? Yeah, I want to know if he's doing, because we're doing for sure. I just want to know if he's doing.
A little bit.
Cage Pap said the Logitech one and cleaning the AC one I still watch. Which was it, the cleaning AC one where I broke my back trying to carry it back upstairs? That was probably that in that video. That probably was the single moment where my back went downhill the most. Like that's probably the genesis of the moment where I just disabled myself for the foreseeable future. He said, I am good, just chilling. All right, cool. Well, you keep that caps lock going, brother. Hey, let me ask you something, Aux. Do you ever, when you see in caps, do you actually read it in your head as yelling?
Yes.
I do too. I don't know if that's like an ADHD thing or if everybody does that, but whenever I see caps, like when I'm reading in my head, I don't say, oh, this person is trying to yell. Like, I actually read it in my head as a loud volume yelling voice.
Yeah. And not necessarily in an angry way.
No. Just obnoxious.
Like just yelling. Yeah. That's to me, that's been from text. That's just from text communication, like rules. If you're all caps, you're yelling at me, especially with an exclamation. I tend not to take it in an aggressive stance without an exclamation.
Yeah, true.
But even then, like, context clues will help a lot, because sometimes you're just really excited and you're like, oh my God. And like, that's not angry.
Like somebody says, how are you doing today? It's like, hi, how are you doing today? Yeah, that's how I read it in my head.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, I've spent so much time communicating through text. Like, that's just the rules.
You like the garage cleaning video too? You know what? I want to point something out. If you were thinking about creating a YouTube channel, one thing I've learned about YouTube is the more effort you put in, the less you get out. And I genuinely mean that. Like from the most basic
in a lot
stance,
of ways.
It's very true. And don't get me wrong, dude, like the Mr. Beast where you take it to like the umpteenth level or whatever, there's a lot of money in that, obviously, right? But if
there's a huge gap though, where it's kind of crap. Yep. It's kind of crap until you are like at least semi-pro level. You're better off doing a lot of shit just like on your cell phone and doing jump cuts and not a lot of like your videos are going to be shit as you learn proper color grading and blah blah blah.
Hey, let me ask
this. Recommend.
So Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast, do you think if Mr. Beast just made a video where he was sitting down with just his iPhone camera unstabilized and he was just doing stupid shit like flipping through YouTube, like really ridiculous YouTube videos and TikToks and be like, ha ha, lols. Do you think that video could do as good as like one of his videos he spends like $3 million to produce?
Yeah,
I think so too.
Especially now, because he's got the following and stuff. Like he could put out him taking a shit.
100%. I agree.
Yeah.
So fun fact about my YouTube channel, I have 800, I think little over 800 videos that I've published, right? Not including the unpublished stuff and the the hidden stuff. But 800 videos I've published publicly in my YouTube career over the course of about 17 years. And a lot of those were in the last half. So it wasn't like even throughout that period. It was like huge push between, say, 2015 and like 2017 or 2018, or probably over half of the videos are within that small period. But I will tell you this. If you look at my top 10 videos by views, you might be surprised. Because my top 10 videos include shit such as 3D printing a Pokeball. That was a super easy video that I did. Nothing to it, right?
Yep.
Putting together an Intex inflatable hot tub. My third biggest video I've ever made was me literally in my backyard just cussing and swearing, putting together an Intex inflatable hot tub and bitching about it, right?
Yeah.
Cleaning my garage, right? Like who the hell, a video about cleaning a garage. My AC, cleaning my AC. That was another really big one, right? It's all these videos where I just do some stupid thing where it's like there is absolutely no attempt to have good quality audio, good quality video. I'm not trying to make a production and do like hardcore editing. It's more of a vlog style. Those videos almost always did better. The only exception to that is like when I did the cinematic video of my room the room tour with the voiceover and stuff. That was my most famous video I ever did in the history of my entire channel, where I was showing off like, hey, look at my room that has these massive screens and huge sound system and 3D printers and shit. Like back when none of that was common at all. Like a lot of people didn't even know half the shit existed that I had in this room at that time. And so that video took off because people were just like overwhelmed by there could be that much technology in one space, right? But aside from that, no, I found that overwhelmingly on my channel, the videos that did the best were the ones that were the least amount of effort, where there was more focus on just, just something organically happening than something that was planned on any level. So next time you're like, oh man, I want to make a YouTube channel, but I have to be really good at editing and no, just be entertaining. Just as long as you are entertaining, as long as what you do is, oh, go ahead.
I'd say don't get caught up on that word either. Like what you think is entertaining is not what everybody else thinks is entertaining.
That is true. Like that's true. I didn't think any of the videos that I made were going to go viral. Those were just filler videos.
You got to think. You got to come at it from make a video that you like to make.
100%.
Right?
100%.
It's because what you like doing is going to be very much different from what you like to consume. Right? Yeah. Or, I mean, there's going to be some overlap. None of these is very, like, super strict and, like, but, because, like, I totally enjoy watching, like, those lawnmower videos where the guy, like, fucking chops down the big crazy jungle in somebody's backyard and, like, edges it all up. And so I love watching those time lapses and stuff. I also quite enjoy doing that kind of work on occasion. I don't want to do it as a job, right? But, like, hey, I'm probably not going to fucking film myself doing my front yard. But if I did, I bet you people would love it.
They would.
Cleaning videos, easy shit, man. Put your phone up on a tripod while you're fucking cleaning your kitchen. People love that shit. For buddy of mine,
the more somebody relates to it, the more somebody can relate to it, the better it is.
Yeah, and the thing is, there are going to be people who are into your whatever it is. Like, think about. There's always that question, like, what could you talk about for 30 minutes unprepared? Like if I just threw you on a stage, or if I just like, hey, 30 minutes, here's $1,000 if you can talk about something for 30 minutes, and that whatever it is that you can nerd out and be fucking over the top and like blah, 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 blah. There's 1,000 other people who are just like you.
Yep.
Man, just do that. Whatever it is you can talk about, whatever thing that people don't let you info dump about. That's probably the easiest stuff.
People vibe on energy. Like if they watch your video and they pick up on your energy, they get excited too. Like one thing I found out is people will match your emotion. So if you're in a video and you're really sad and you're really upset, they get really sad and they get really upset too. Right? If you're really happy and you're overly energized and you're like super excited, they get excited for you. Like they get a high by proxy.
So many people, I was saying my buddy's wife did a couple of videos of her just cleaning like the house. Right. Yep. And had made like $600-700 off the AdSense and like and then I think like Swiffer and a couple other cleaning companies had like sent them stuff, like a box of stuff. Say, hey man, we'd love it if you would like just you don't even have to say nothing. Just use the product in your next video and say like hey, thanks to Swiffer or whatever for sending me this box. Yep. It wasn't like a full on sponsorship thing. It was like a gift, but hey, yeah, man, just people love that shit. People love that shit.
My favorite video series that I ever did, honestly, was Jerry Rigged. And that's probably one that I would bring back because Jerry Rigged was all about solving a problem unconventionally. Like that was it. It's I'd pick and I wouldn't create the problem. It wasn't like I'd be like, oh, today I'm going to show you something that I no, it was like something in my house is broken. My dryer's broken, right? My air conditioner's broken. My door is broken. Like whatever was my light failed and I got to fix it. Like I would show how my brain worked. And how I'm taking unconventional means to fix something. I got a lot of shit for it too because people are like, that's unsafe. You shouldn't do that, blah, blah. And I'd always like preface it with like, hey, this is at your own risk, obviously. But yeah, people love that. They love that it's like, oh, here's an unconventional way to solve a problem. And I loved it because this is exactly what I do, even if a camera wasn't there. Like, and so it just worked out. It's like, here, I'll show you guys how to install how to install a thermostat, right? Like, and I actually got shocked, right? I got shocked when I was installing it. It bit me pretty good, and I jump in the video. And I'm like, crap, because I touched a live wire, and I was like, oh, it's only supposed to be 24 volts. How bad could it be? And it was actually pretty decent. Like the voltage that comes through the power So like your HVAC system in your house has a 24 volt live wire that comes from the HVAC system into the thermostat that's like standardized here in the United States, but it's got a decent amount of current behind it. Like it bites you pretty damn hard when you grab that wire. Like it'll buzz you like an electric fence, right? And I did not know that. I thought all these itty bitty little wires, were not a threat at all, and I learned the hard way. But again, by people watching the video, right, they realize that, oh shit, maybe if I go digging around in there, I should be a little bit safer. So it's like my mistake might help somebody else. And that I really loved. And so I would love to bring that back, because the cool thing about jerry-rigged is it doesn't have to be anything specific. It can even be me just fixing software. It could be me like writing a script. It could be any of that shit fits under jerry-rigged. If however I'm doing it is not the conventional way that somebody else would do it, then it fits under jerry-rigged. It's that simple, right? Here, I want to thank a couple other people here that have been so generous today. By the way, thank you guys so much for the super chats. And Aux, dude, it's been way too long since I paid you. Just so you know, I'm gonna get you today. After I'm done with the stream, I'll go through and do the math, because I think I owe you for like 3+ months at this point. Let's see here. I just wanted you to know. I'm sorry I keep forgetting, but this pain shit I've been going through the last couple months fucked me. I know you don't care. You told me you don't care, but I just want you to know.
I forget too.
I haven't forgot about you, brother. I love you, brother. I love you. I don't want you to ever feel otherwise. Hystario, thank you for the $5. He said, "What do you think about the Elon Musk and Peterson talk?" That just happened a couple of days ago, right? I didn't watch it.
No.
I did see. No. I think I know the clip that I saw from it, and that was the one where Elon straight up says that his kid is dead. That's not actually dead just because they're trans. That was fucked up.
I don't even want to talk about it.
That was fucked up. You don't have to talk about it, but I need to make a statement on this, because this is horrible shit. Because first of all, you guys know I think Elon Musk is an absolute piece of shit, and I can back it up with receipts all day long. Like at this point, it's not even a fucking opinion. It's like the guy is objectively trash. So. He literally on this thing says that his firstborn son is dead. Like not like, I don't like him anymore because they're trans or whatever. He literally says they're dead. That person no longer exists because they came out as who they actually are.
Right.
And they finally I thought that was
dead naming and stuff.
Yeah, it's dead naming because they're actually dead.
Because they're dead.
I was like, the fact that he says that about somebody who can't come forward and defend themselves publicly under threat from him is chicken shit as fuck. So I just want to say, I think Elon Musk is a piece of trash, and fuck him. I hope that he gets what he deserves one day. So yeah, that's what I think about that. Hey, every once in a while somebody's gonna tip for some drama. There's your drama. You got it from me.
Yeah.
I know that's something that some people don't like to talk about because of the whole politics of it. But I'm not even talking about Elon Musk's politics. I'm talking about the way he's treating his own child.
Both of them are just gross.
Well, let me ask you this: you never treat your child that way, right?
No, of course not.
Neither would I. Your child is your child. You love them unconditionally. If you can't love them unconditionally, then you shouldn't have fucking made them.
Yeah.
So the fact that he can just say his kid is dead because his kid doesn't agree with what he agrees with, or they won't be what he wants them to be, that makes them dead and not I'll never talk to him again because they're literally dead and buried in the ground. Seriously, fuck that guy. That guy's everything wrong with this country right now. I'm just glad he doesn't natively come from here. Let's see here. Caged Paps, thank you for the 5-poundaroos. He said, "Do you still have the Scooby?" Yeah, I got the Scooby. I took her out for a drive yesterday, and I was actually super impressed. I took out the STI yesterday for its first drive in probably 3 months. How many
quarts did it need?
Surprisingly, none. As long as it sits still, it doesn't burn any oil. It was full. Like I put it away 3 months ago full. Yeah, it doesn't. It burns the oil. It doesn't drain it. So I get in and turn the key, and it fucking started. I've never had that car start after 3 months without being on the trickle charger. So it started up, it idled smooth. If the tires were flat spotted, I had to drive probably about 10 miles to get the tires to be round again. So it was like, clunk, 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 clunk. But once the flat spots came out of the tire and it was smooth, no, she was great. I mean, the brakes were squeaking like hell because there's so much surface rust on them in the pads. But no, worked great. And surprisingly, the clutch held. It's probably because all the rust that formed on the clutch over the 3 months, it probably got extra grip. But no, I railed on it. I properly railed it to clean everything out of the engine, to blow out all the carbon deposits and everything. And no, it was great. Didn't miss a beat. No misfires. No check engine light. Nothing. So I was really shocked. Subaru though, right? Subarus do one of two things, specifically STIs and WRXs. They either run forever or they explode. There's no in between. There's no like, oh, little problem here, little problem there, keeps you stranded. It's like, no, you either can wring it out and it runs perfectly, or the engine just explodes into pieces. Those are the two states the STI engines exist in. I was lucky enough to get an engine that doesn't seem to want to explode, which is great because, by the way, I'm not stock. My engine, its entire life of my engine, the last 60,000 miles I've put on it have been under stage 2 Pro tuned, like on a dyno, 360 or 336 horsepower at the wheels, which normally on an STI it's about 260 with drivetrain loss.
Man,
so I'm 100 over stock, 100 horsepower over stock and 150 over torque. And it's been fine. No problem.
Driving your car that like fucking whatever it was, 10 minutes from that sandwich place to back to PDX land. It's probably the most fun I've had in a car. And
Dude.
like we weren't even really doing anything crazy.
No.
But
I was so proud of you though.
It was really just coming.
Yeah.
It was just coming out of the parking lot was the most fun.
Yeah.
Because like that was awesome. Wop, 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 wop.
So Aux caught it, and this is hard to do. This is actually really hard to do.
So good.
He caught a shift so fast in the STI, and this is straight up difficult to do in an STI if you've ever done it. He caught a shift so fast that he didn't drop a pound of boost.
Dude,
when you shifted, when you did that 2 to 3 shift, like it was so perfect that the boost gauge needle like didn't even twitch. Like you were, and remember how hard it pulled? Remember when you dropped it into third and it kicked us back in our seats? Like
the first just starting out, like I didn't realize. So Jerry's flywheel is super light, but
very light. Yeah.
The clutch is very strong,
very grippy. Yep.
And so I'm thinking, I'm driving this. I'm first starting off like it's my own car, and it just I killed it. Embarrassing, because it grabbed so much sooner than I expected.
Yeah,
and he tells me
when it grabs. Like
it does. That. Yeah, you got to just go
just let
fast.
it go.
I'm like, you sure? Okay, man.
Yeah, don't ride a stage 2 clutch. Like it's either in or out. Like don't ride it.
Oh man.
But dude, when you caught that shift, like it pulled so goddamn hard. Like I wasn't even used to it pulling that hard because I struggled to do that shift. Like with a lightweight flywheel, the revs drop so fast that it's really difficult to keep full boost between shifts. Unless you're like, actually using the gas while you're shifting, like to hold your revs, right?
Yeah.
Flat foot shifting is what I do now. Like now I have a map that I didn't have back then where you just keep the pedal pinned to the floor, and when you push in the clutch, it holds the needle at that RPM until you shift. So now I can do what you did every single shift with no effort. But the fact that you did that without that was really impressive. That you I mean, it was like it was a dual clutch transmission. Like literally it wasn't like it was blah blah blah. I mean, it was just like you were on it, and I was so happy. I was like cheering from the passenger seat. I'm like, dude, this is so damn cool. Yeah, no, I thought that was pretty cool that you just jumped in it and like fucking mastered it like that. But when you drove it, think about this. When you drove it, it only had 300 horsepower at the wheels. Now it has 326 at the wheels, and you only had 300 torque, and now I have 380 torque. So it has 80 more foot-pounds of torque than when you drove it. So if you drove it again, it would seem quite a bit faster than when you drove it that day. So, but the funny thing is, it's not fast anymore. Those used to be big numbers back in the day, like 300 horsepower, all-wheel drive rally car. Like now it's like fucking Honda Civics and shit have that, right? A Honda Civic SI comes with 320 horsepower stock.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and it's got such a trick front wheel drive that it'll like outmaneuver, like it won't off the line. My car will smoke it off the line, but when you get to the turns, the STI will actually like outmaneuver the the SI will outmaneuver the STI, which is just fucking crazy to me. Like to me, that's batshit crazy. Like a Honda, like a little Honda racer car, beating the shit out of like a purebred rally car, right?
It's the progression though. It's like GPUs, right? Yep. There's hardly any room to overclock anymore because they got to squeeze everything they can at the factory.
Dude, the base model Tesla, the cheapest Tesla you can buy for like what is it, like 38,000 or something. The cheapest Tesla you can buy has the equivalent of over 400 horsepower at the rear wheels.
Wow.
So and remember, like when the Subaru came out, the STI, it was a $45,000 car. And that was back then. Nowadays, I bet you probably can't even get an STI for under 50. Like if you wanted to really buy an STI like out the door after doing all the paperwork, you're probably 50 grand and do it for an STI. And the modern STI is still essentially the same. There's nothing special about it. I think it went from 300 to 320 stock. Still used the same engine, same transmission, same rear diff. The gearing's a little different because they wanted to make it get better gas mileage. But it's essentially the same car. It hasn't changed in like 12 plus years. It's no more than that. Because I think they introduced the two, what engine does that got in it again? I just had a total brain fart. The 2J, right? The 2.5 liter EJ. And that thing was introduced back in like 2001 or something, and they've been using the same block even today. If you go buy a 2024 STI, which I don't even know if they have the STI anymore. I haven't looked. But I know they were talking about moving to a new engine called the FQ, which is their more efficient flat engine with like direct injection and stuff like that, but they haven't. As far as I know, they're still using the same old EJ all these years later. It's wild. And that's why you can take the old car and tune it up so much, right? Is because it never was even remotely near its potential. What is your take on the CrowdStrike stuff? Oh, dude. Here, let me ask you, because you actually work at a at a company that makes computers and stuff. Like, what did you hear about how CrowdStrike affected people? Like, were any of your customers affected or anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, it didn't affect us at all. Because we don't use the service, so it didn't. Not that I'm aware of. But I'm not real plugged into the support team, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, I know that it was probably the most significant like downtime worldwide for like infrastructure, all the way governments, police stations, 911s, hospitals, all the way down to businesses, travel, airlines. Like every sector was affected around the world. It was basically like was like what we thought Y2K would be was what CrowdStrike affected. And the funniest thing, the irony about it all is you pay CrowdStrike to protect your network and to protect your computers. So the thing that you literally are paying all this money to protect your shit, right, ultimately took you down. How pissed off, like all I can imagine is they're going to literally have a million lawsuits against them and they're just going to have to fold. Because I don't know how you survive that, because there's no way these companies aren't going to sue for the damages, because I know it's got to register in the billions, if not the trillions, once you tally up the damage worldwide. And I'm sure they're still tallying up the damage. Like, there's no way they've figured out exactly how much money has been lost by everybody, right?
Yeah.
You know what's really sad, though,
probably.
Let me ask you something. If you were a software developer, and I actually had the same concern when I was working at Windows, but luckily the majority of the code I worked on, with rare exceptions, went in the product that shipped to customers. Most of my code was stayed internal to Microsoft. One of my biggest fears as a software developer that ships code for an operating system or ships code that impacts the reliability of a network is if you fuck up, you can kill people. Like, there's no two bits about it. Like, CrowdStrike killed somebody. We don't know yet, right? It hasn't been published, but 100% certain that at least a certain amount of people died directly related to CrowdStrike. It could be the person in the hospital because the machine went down and they couldn't get the medicine out fast enough to give it to the person because they couldn't unlock the drawer because they couldn't access their file. It could have been them, they ran to the emergency room to get like an emergency supply, but it was just too far and they would have saved them if they were closer to the cart. It could have been 911. Somebody's calling, hey, somebody's trying to murder me, and they can't get through the system, and they get killed. So there's so many situations, like cops calling for backup and their fucking routing system crashes. There was so much infrastructure running on Windows that just basically went tits up. So how the hell, like, do you justify, or how the hell do you live with yourself as a developer when you're like, I'm the person that did this bug? I moved a little too quick. I didn't do proper testing. And I was like, I want to go home tonight. So you skip a couple steps, you ship this thing, you take out like half the world, and you're like, I'm directly responsible for like a couple dozen people dying. Like, that would haunt me. Like, and not in the same way that it'd be like if you developed missile systems and shit, people are going to die. Like, you're a developer, you go into it knowing that these are for warfare, and you also know that for every person it's killing, it's potentially saving the good guys, right? So you can rectify that. But how do you rectify it when you forget to carry the one, go home and find out the next day that you just killed a whole bunch of innocent people? And had you not made that one little mistake and you just tried a little bit harder, that you basically weren't a murderer. And you have to live with that for the rest of your life, because you're not going to go to jail for it. You're not going to be charged with it, because at the end of the day, you weren't directly connected to the murder. You just did the thing that, allowed the murder to happen or the death to happen. So I don't know how I'd live with myself. And that's why I would never want to be that. Like, when I worked at Microsoft, there are several opportunities where they wanted me to work on shipping code. And I did SetRes. If you've ever used the server product, SetRes EXE is written by me. So if you've ever installed Windows Server 2008 R2 or better all the way up, it's still in the product as of 2012 too. So if you type SetRes from the command line from a server SKU, I wrote that. That is my tool. I designed it and I wrote it.
What?
That's the only shipping code that I've ever had, like, in product, with the exception of a couple bugs that I fixed. So there were some bugs that I fixed that I checked in the code for, but the dev double checked it and we put it through a round of testing. So I know that it's not my fault, because the dev approved it. So it's his fault as much as it is mine if it fucking killed anybody. But for the most part, I didn't work on shipping code. And I had opportunities. They wanted me to. Like when I was on the debugger team, they wanted me to work on shipping code. And I was like, no, I never wanted to. Because one, it's a lot more steps that you have to go through and a lot more certification, testing, code reviews. There's a lot of steps that you have to do because there's external companies and countries that can see the source code under NDA. So they don't want you like putting bad comments in there or having code that looks unprofessional.
Oh, sure.
So they go out of their way to try to make stuff look good, right?
Okay.
But those same things don't apply for internal test code. Like if you're writing internal test code, you can just do pretty much whatever the fuck you want, right? You can put comments in there, fuck you, whatever, your coworker, and nobody's the wiser as long as it's checked into the test code branch. So I liked being a test code guy. I didn't like being a shipping code guy, and it was for that very reason. I would not be able to live with myself if I shipped a bug that got people killed. And when you're talking about a server operating system that's like backing up and running infrastructure for like really high, like that's why you ever wonder why like the nuclear submarines in the military, if you didn't know this, the submarines in the military run Windows XP. They only recently upgraded, I believe, to Windows 7, but they ran Windows XP way past end of life. And the reason that they did was because they needed to be 100%, like they need to make, whoa, seriously? PK Beast, goddamn. Woo! Woo! Everybody be like PK Beast. He said, just popping in quick to say I love you guys. I'll catch you in the VOD. Oh, dude, thank you so much.
Wow, thank you.
Dude,
wow,
69
so cool.
pounds. Hell yeah, brother. Wow, the exchange rate is that much? Oh my God. That was basically like 80 or 90 bucks. That was crazy, dude.
Yeah. Wow, thank you so much.
We love you, bro. Thank you so much. That actually does help a lot. James Janus said, I use my computer too much and want to use it less. I'm looking for free software I can install on my PC that prevents login during certain hours, like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I can't log in. I'm sure
it's going to be some kind of corporate lockdown shit.
As a matter of fact, parental controls supports that, I believe. Let me see. I think
there
Windows.
used to be something
let me look
on
here. So Windows 10 or Windows 11 parental controls login times restricted. Because I'm pretty sure.
Ooh, outlet timer. That's a good one. Yeah, outlet timer.
Oh, but that would power down the physical
your
computer.
Machine
He doesn't
literally
want that.
can't fucking turn on. You literally can't turn your fucking machine on. Wow, that's a good one.
Okay, so here you go. You have to create an account using Windows key I to go into settings, go to account and family, click add someone. Under family section, create an account for your child, but just do it for you. I know you're not a child, but create a child account. And you can still give a child account administrative access, by the way. So you can, but create a child account. And then what you want to do is, let's see here, starting the limits. Okay, open the family app and then select the child account that you just created and go to screen time under devices, turn limits on, and you can change the time at which they can access the device and the total time per day that they can access the device. And if they try to exceed that, it'll just lock the box so they can't get in.
James, I imagine it'll be a very similar process on Windows 10.
It'll be the same. It'll be the exact same.
There's really not that big of, really not that much different in Windows 11. It's not a new operating system. It was like an upgrade. They just did it to keep up with when Apple dropped the OS X thing.
The only thing that's going to change
is it was a feature update to Windows 10. It's not that different.
The UI might change a little, but the options themselves will be the same, basically.
Yeah,
because
your context menu changes a little bit, things like that. But there are tools as well to
I like
those.
that. Bradley Smith said put the outlet timer on the monitor. That way you don't have to shut down the computer.
That's
but
smart.
if you can't see it, you can't use it, right?
That's smart.
That's clever. I like that one. I like that. And outlet timers are cheap. You can buy an analog or a digital outlet timer for under $20 on Amazon. So that would work.
That's a good one.
But
so going from 8 to 8.1. Yes. Yep. Actually, yeah. Except 8.1 fixed that bullshit tile interface that they thought everybody was going to be using tablets and stuff. Windows 11 is mostly UI changes, exactly like Leo gaming.
Another way that you could do it too is if you have a USB hub that you run your keyboard and mouse through. You could, if it's a powered USB hub where it doesn't work as a standalone hub without power, then you just put the timer on the power, and then your mouse and keyboard won't work, but you can still turn on the monitor if you want to see what's going on the computer. So you have lots of options for like restricting your time and your usage. But here's the thing. You want to make sure that whatever method you use is the hardest to work around. Because one thing I found is doing what you're trying to do. If it's easy to work around it, you'll just justify it and work around it more and more and more until it's basically not effective and it's just wasting time. What you want to do is make it the most complicated. That's why I like the whole power with the monitor, because then you can put it like under the desk, plugged into the outlet, and then it's like you have to go under the desk and physically do an act to undo it so that you can use the computer and then put it back again. And I think that pain in the ass would actually have you be much more successful. Also, you don't have to worry about losing your work with the monitor timer. Yeah, no, I like that. I think Bradley Smith has the best idea, in my opinion. In my opinion, 100%. I think that's even better than the family account, because then you just leave all your accounts the way they are. You don't have to change how you use Windows or limitations or anything. You're just basically saying, I cannot see the computer. Like, I physically can't turn it on and see it. Just remember that you put the outlet timer down there so you don't freak out when your monitor doesn't turn on and think it's broken or some shit, because that's something I would totally do. Yeah, let me see how much an outlet timer is. Thing.
I think that's old news, I think.
So let's see here. Outlet,
some newer thing.
Outlet power timer.
Oh, it's a new one.
So, these are dirt cheap. Dude, you can get a digital outlet timer with like multiple. Oh, wow. It's only like $2 more than the analog one. Oh, this is actually a pretty good deal. Highly rated, too. Here, let me put this link in here. If you guys use that link, by the way, I do get some money. So awesome. Yeah, digital infinite repeat cycle intermittent timer plug for electrical outlet, 24-hour programmable indoor timed power switch with countdown delay on off 120 volt 15 amp one pack. I love how they name these things on Amazon. It's absolutely hilarious.
Right.
But this one's
AI
cool.
Stuff.
This one's cool because you can set multiple times for the power to come on and off, whereas like the analog ones, you basically just have to say when the power turns on, where the power turns off. Only one cycle. These programmable ones, it looks like you can do a whole bunch of different cycles. Then you can even plug a power strip into it. So you can technically have it power down a whole bunch of things. Like if you have 3 monitors, you could plug 3 monitors into a power strip, then plug it into this, and it would power down all 3 screens. So that's actually something I probably should get. This probably would be helpful for me, honestly. but I'd probably end up just working around it. They also have power strips with an integrated timer. So if you want the power strip and the timer all integrated together, where you can have each outlet have like different times it turns on and off and shit, that's a thing like for $25. They also make outdoor ones too that look like for sprinkler systems and shit like that. They're all cheap though. I'm actually surprised at how cheap this stuff is. I mean, the electronic ones that are like the ones you think would be really expensive are like between $9 and $12. Like that's stupid cheap. There's a indoor countdown timer. So like if you want an outlet where you just push a button on it and then it basically turns it off for the amount of time that you specify and then turns it back on again, $13. Oh, I didn't even think about this. There's another option you can take too. If you have programmable, like automated outlets, which a lot of people have laying around, like the TP-Link, like these guys. Where do I have one over here? I don't have one free, but you know the little things that you plug into your outlets, you plug something into, and then you can use your phone to turn it on and off? They also support scheduling. So like and those are more useful. So if you go to like I have Casa, TP-Link Casa switch.
Uh-huh.
So if I open up my my app on my phone here, let me log in. Log in, damn it. Use my face. Okay, so I'm logged in. So I have like my bedside lamp, Xander's bedside lamp, backyard light, loft light, the Vario Arrow, so to turn my VR headset on and off. I have them all plugged into these little plugs. You can get 4 of them for about $25. And the cool thing is the app also allows you to program them with schedules. I've never used it, but I just remembered that they support it. So you can actually go into the switch and say, I want you to turn on at this time and turn off at this time. And you can just program it right in the switch where you don't even have to use the app. Once it's programmed to the outlet, until you change it again, it just follows those directives. And so that's infinitely more useful because then you can use it as an automated switch for like turning shit on and off manually if you need to. Like let's say you want to override it because you have an emergency and you need to use your computer. Instead of having to go under the desk, unplug it, take it out of the middle and plug it back into the wall again, you could just go into the app and temporarily disable the schedule. So for one occurrence and then go back. So shit like that I think would be really, really good. And those I think are still pretty cheap. Let's see, TP-Link. I think they're called Casa. Yeah, $23 for 4 of them. They actually came down in price. They used to be $25, so they're on sale 20% off. And the cool thing about these is the encryption has already been broken on them. And you'd think that's a bad thing, right? But they're behind your LAN. You don't have to worry. If they're behind your LAN and your firewall, you don't have to worry about the internet taking control of them. But what I like about these is because the encryption has been broken, there's a million libraries for Python that interact with these. So you can go to any AI and say, write me a program to turn this on and turn it off at this time. And it'll just write you a Python script that'll do it. That'll find it on the network, control it by name and everything. So I know during one of my live streams, we did that. We went into an AI. I used Claude 3 Opus, and I said, write me a program that'll find all the TP-Link switches on my network and turn them all off. And it did. It actually wrote the code to search all 4 of my subnets on my local network, find each of the switches, and then issue the command to each one of them to turn it off. And it did it all through Python. And it worked right off the bat. I didn't have to fix anything. I said,
nice.
Create the script, cut and paste, notepad, Python, run the script, enter. It took about 25 seconds to search all the networks and all the IP addresses. It found them, turned them off, and it worked great. So give that a try. In Europe, they're called the Tapo. Oh, no, the Tapo is different. They're 2 different technologies. So the Casa and the Tapo are 2 completely different protocols. And the reason I know this is because the first piece of code the AI wrote, because I didn't tell it which one I had, I said I just had a TP-Link switch. The code it wrote didn't work, and it was because for Tapo, I had to literally tell it was a Casa switch for it to write the right code. So, but if I remember, Tapo is the more up-to-date one, and I don't know if the encryption on Tapo has been broken yet, but I know they do have a library. So even if encryption isn't broken, you can still use them as long as you have like the credentials or whatever that you need to access the device, which is probably preferred. Does it need a hub? Nope, completely hubless. Each device joins your network with its own IP address.
You're a hub.
You're a hub. So there's ups and downs to devices that use hubs or don't use hubs. The ones that use hubs only take a single IP address. So you connect the hub to the network, and then it becomes a Wi-Fi access point for all the other automation in your house. And what's nice about that is the hub just grabs one IP address, so you're not taking up a bunch of IP addresses on your network. And then you issue a command to the hub, and then the hub figures out which device to go and turn on and off and do whatever with. That's cool. But me personally, what I prefer is each device getting its own IP address, because then I can go into my DHCP table and see exactly how many devices I have without any special program or anything like that. And I can connect to each device directly through IP and run scripts and send commands to and everything without having to like go through the hub. So it depends on what you want. The hub is better if you're going to have like more than 255, devices on your network, then you're going to run out of IP addresses in a class D subnet or whatever. So you're probably going to want to use a hub if you're planning on deploying that much automation. But most hardcore people I know, they might have, 20 or 30 max for a huge house. So in that case, I think it's better just to have each one have its own IP address. Plus, it's faster. You don't have to go to a hub, tell the hub to do something, and then have the hub have to reach out to the device and do something. You can go directly to the device and actually stream to it. And these switches, the TP links, are so fast that I wrote a batch file that just loops that says turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off. And if you listen to the switch, it just goes. I mean, it probably 20 times a second. It's wild how fast they can command it over the network. You can just adjust from the subnet. No, you can. Like some people will use like a class C or a class B subnet for their local area network. But there's also downsides to that too, because the more IP addresses that you have addressable on the network, the longer it takes for things like NetView and stuff like that to traverse and send the command out to everything and get all the stuff back. Because now you went from 255 IP addresses to 255 times 255, or 255 times 255 times 255 for, I think, a class B. So not a lot of people have 192XXX subnets for their house unless they're like a massive corporation or something like that. I have 4 subnets. So I have 192, 168, 1, 2, 3, and 4 by 255 each. So that gives me a total of about 1,000 IP addresses, give or take.
Nice.
Let's see here. That's probably a quick way to burn out the relay in it. Yeah, I didn't let it run that long because it definitely would have broke if I had to just let it machine gun like that. Plus, if you had a device plugged into it, you'd probably fry it. Like, I don't know of too many devices that are used to just getting rammed with a 120 volts or whatever, and then off and on and off and on and off and on that fast. Let's see here. I can't imagine a situation where you need even 255 devices. You'd be surprised. You can eat up IP addresses really fast with all the devices we have nowadays.
Oh man, yeah. You got IoT stuff. You got phones. You got all kinds of weird little gadgets and stuff. Yeah, there's bunches of stuff that take up 255. Why do you think we ran out of IPv4 addresses? Yeah, like worldwide. Like they thought 4 billion addresses was going to be enough.
Not even close.
And we ran out. We ran out in 25 years or whatever.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, I have each TV has an IP address. So my TV in my bedroom, my living room, and the 3 upstairs all have IPs. So that's 5 IPs right there. And then most of my 3D printers have IPs, like my Prusa, my Ultimaker 3, my Ultimaker 2 Plus Extended, the Artemis, The Voron is going to have an IP address. So all my 3D printers have an IP address, including my my new resin printer. So call that another 10, right? So that's 15 now that you've taken out of the 255 pool just from like ancillary devices that, you know, I don't even use on the network that much. All of my lights, all of my lights from Elgato, each of my lights takes an IP address. So my Stream Deck can address them and access them. What else do I have? All the phones, all the smartphones, all the tablets in the house, all the watches in the house have an IP address. I mean, it adds up quick. It really does. And then people have like smart devices like smart washer, smart dryer to notify them when it's done. Smart oven, smart fridge, those all have IP addresses. You know, your router, if you have like a Wi-Fi network or whatever, and it connects, that Wi-Fi network is going to take up one physical IP address on your local network and then, you know, create a Wi-Fi network to talk to everybody else, depending on how you set it up. So yeah, you can freaking eat through a pool of IP addresses. I mean, last time I looked at my DHCP table, there was probably 150 devices in it for my house. And I don't have a giant house. My house is 1,600 square feet. And I wouldn't say that, I mean, I probably have more technology than like the average person, but with the way things are today, I would say that I'm becoming more and more average. Like where I used to be the exception, right? And then now I'm just like, you know, normal people have this much technology, if not even more. What about light switches? Have you seen that? Like they have light switches now that have their own IP addresses. Like every light bulb, every light bulb, every Govee or whatever it is, every light bulb, every switch IP address. That shit would add up. It shit would add up fast. And that's why I know like people like Linus and stuff use hubs in their home automation because they're probably easily exceeding 255 IP addresses. So in that point, the hubs actually do make a lot of sense. Hey, could you give me just a second to go take a tinkle, Mr. Man? And I will be right back here in a second. All right, entertain the troops. I'll be right back.
IPv6 is still vulnerable?
Hey, calm them tits.
Vulnerable to what? What do you mean?
Just breathe.
Some ISPs do not yet offer. Oh, that's because I mean, look, they all break down there's different levels of IPs, right? You have, and so even like the IP address that your ISP gives you to your gateway, it's on its own subnet too, right? We ran out of the high level IP addresses. So, you know, the one that your gateway gets is on a subnet of its own. And even that's probably on its own subnet. Like, you know, the internal stuff, 192.168, that's yours. That's yours. You can get into that all you want and then you can make what? I mean, there's some limit to, I think it's 255 or 255 subnets on that. And then each of those can have its own subnet. Like you can double down, you can drill down hella. And then you got to deal with routing and stuff, right? My last foray into proper, like real networking is in 2002 or no, 2001. So I'm sure I'm speaking out of my ass a little bit. Okay, while Jerry's gone, because I knew this was going to happen, I want to talk to you guys about this cool game I've been playing. It's called Backpack Brawl. It's a lot like Backpack Battles on the PC, but it's on the mobile. And I've been playing it a lot. It's been itching my ADHD, and it's really fun. I like it. There's microtransactions and shit, but you don't have to. You don't have to deal with any of that if you don't want. It's been pretty fun. I dig it. Go check it out. Not sponsored. There are 4 levels: IP, IPA double, IPA, and triple IPA. Yeah. Oh no. Ew. We're not talking beer. Get out of here with your dirt water. Shit tastes like the stuff that come out of my garden. Hate IPAs. So gross. And unnecessary. Unnecessary.
What I do?
Quite frankly, IPAs. I don't like IPAs. They're gross. This is the kind of shit they drank on the Mayflower coming over here, man.
Oh, you're talking about
IPAs.
Beers?
Talking about IPAs.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know anything about beer.
I get it. A lot of people drink IPA because they're usually pretty high in alcohol content. But that's not an excuse.
That's the only thing I care about drinking beer.
Bro, dude, I've drank some. There's this. It's a darker beer. It was like Dragon's Head or something like that. Dragon's Blood, Dragon's Teeth, something like that. dude, it was like 9%, 9.5%, and fucking tasted like chocolate milk, dude.
Have you ever drank a 20% microbrew before?
Oh man, yeah, meads and stuff. You start getting into
scary.
wines or wheat wines and things like that. Yeah, dude, 20%. That's a wine at that point. And yeah, and those definitely start getting weird.
Yeah,
Dragon's milk. I think that's what it was. Dragon's milk. Let me look. I'm gonna look that up.
So I went to PDX Land one year with Metal Jesus Rocks, and they took me out to. Everybody went out to a bar. And again, I'm not a heavy drinker. Like, I just have a buddy that I used to drink with back in the day. I'd go to his house, get shit-faced drunk on liquor, and pass out on his couch. That was about the extent of my drinking. And so we go to this PDX Land thing, and they're like, "Oh, what would you like to order?" It was a beer place. It was a microbrew place, right? They made all their own beers. And I said, "Bring me your highest alcohol beer," because I was like, I'm not a big beer drinker. I'm not a big fan of beer, so I'm like, just get me drunk so I don't have to drink a whole bunch of it. And so they bring me out the beer, and I swear to God, it's in like this little snifter-looking, fancy wine glass-looking thing that's about this tall.
They'll give you like a 10-ounce pour.
Yeah. There's like nothing in it, right?
Little.
And I'm like, this thing's tiny, and I sip it, and I'm like, it tastes like no alcohol in it at all. Like, at all. It tasted like it was like fucking near beer. And I'm
that's
like,
what I mean.
I just chug it, and they're like, hey, calm down on that. The lady who gave it to me, she's like, oh, no, like, enjoy it. Slow down. Bring me another. I drank 4 of those things, and I was like, I felt fine. And like 15 minutes later, I was slurring, and they're like, everybody's laughing. Somebody untied my shoe and took it off, and I didn't even know it under the table. Like, I was trashed. Oh my God.
Where is it? Yeah, you can know my location. You're gonna get it wrong anyway. There's a beer that they serve at Yard House. I don't know if they brew it or if it's something they just have on their menu. Looking. It's 10%, and it's like a wheat beer. Yeah, their House Belgian Golden, 10.5%, and it comes in like like a 10-ounce pour. You can't even get it in a pint.
Yep,
those are so good. That's such a good one. So good. Very, very tasty.
It was the least amount of liquid I'd ever ingested to get as trashed as I was trashed.
Oh man!
And then I walk out. My wife comes to pick me up because obviously I don't drink and drive ever under no circumstances. Right. Like even if I drink one beer, I just don't drive. It's how I am.
Good.
So I walk out there because my wife's there. She messages me and I'm like, ding, 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 ding. She's like trying to get my attention. Okay, guys, I gotta go. I stumble out in front of the bar and my wife pulls up and she's laughing at me when I get in the vehicle and she's like, you're missing a shoe. And I looked down. I didn't even know. Like, I was so numb and I was so drunk, I didn't even feel the ground. Like, I just was stumbling around. Like, felt like I was floating. And I get in the car. I didn't have my shoe. So the next day, I come into the event without a shoe. I literally didn't have a shoe. So I walk in my sock. And Jason, or Metal Jesus Rocks, he says, yeah, we took your shoe off under the table last night where you're pissed drunk. And he said, it's somewhere in this event. You have to find which table it is and buy it before it sells because it's on sale right now. And so they put my shoe out for sale for $20, and I had to wander around PDX Land. There's a whole video of it on YouTube of me stumbling around trying to find my damn shoe before somebody ends up buying it out from under me and trying to blackmail me to get it back. And I just bought it in the nick of time, too, because like somebody was trying to buy it. Like when I rolled up on the booth, like the dude was like eyeballing it, like, why are you guys selling one shoe? This is kind of weird. And they're like, oh, yeah, it belonged to a YouTuber. And the dude was going to buy it. And I was like, hey, dude, that's my shoe. It's a joke. Like, hey, can I have that back? And he's like, oh, no, I was going to buy it. I was like, please don't. It was pretty funny. It ended up being. But, yeah, that was, just so you guys know, people are like, oh, that was rigged. That was a rigged gag. Nope. 100% hand on heart on my mom's grave, man. Like, that was not. They stole my shoe while I was drunk and legitimately put it up for sale, and I had no fucking clue. So
that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was a really funny story. It ended up actually making a pretty good video. But yeah, I learned my lesson that the less you taste the alcohol in beer, the more scary it can be. And I don't really understand how, because you'd think like with a 20% alcohol that it tastes like rubbing alcohol or smell like rubbing alcohol. It doesn't at all. Like none. Trump is about to speak at a Bitcoin conference. New grift incoming. Oh, 100%. 100%. Scam after scam after scam. There's a beer called Snake Venom that's 67.5% alcohol. I mean, at that point, they'd have to just be adding it. Like at that point, they're adding the alcohol.
Yeah, it's not a beer anymore.
Because I don't even think you could you distill beer down to that?
Words matter. Words matter.
Yeah, like, I don't think you could actually do that.
That's a hard alcohol at that point. Because like beers, I think they stopped calling it a beer after 12 or 13%, and then it starts getting into wines. Like it's a wheat wine or that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
because like at that 14, that's like your average wine is around 14%, and then I'm sure at some point it stops being a wine and it becomes it's fortified at that point. Yeah, right. They add that shit in there.
Yep.
There's no way because like, man, if you're gonna start distilling, barley wines and stuff. Yeah, you start distilling it that much, you're gonna eventually make vodka. Like you distill anything. I can't remember who said that, but I think it was probably on one of those moonshiner shows. But it's like you distill anything enough, it becomes vodka. Like it doesn't matter what you're fermenting, but if you keep doing that process, you're gonna end up with just ethanol and water.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So
hold on here. Oh my God. So much shit going on right now that we can't talk about.
Oh man. Interesting times, right?
It is.
All kinds of stuff. It just won't stop.
I have never seen this much scary. Oh, by the way, did you see my message I sent you that Jerry Ryan 7 to 9 follows me on Twitter now?
Oh.
Did you see that? Yeah, she
cool.
retweeted
man.
My shit this morning. I was like, hell yeah, when 7 of 9 retweets your shit on X, that's a good day. That's a really good day. So I screenshot the hell out of that just in case she realized what she did and unfollows me. I need to make sure I recorded a record of that. Did you see my tweet, JD Vance's couch that looks like it has a bunch of vaginas on it?
Oh, geez.
Dude, that was hilarious. My wife sent that to me while I was in the theater watching Deadpool the other day.
Ha.
So, by the way, Deadpool 3, no spoilers, because I know a lot of people haven't seen it yet, including my co-host, AuxxZillary.
Don't tell me.
I will tell you right now, it is the best Deadpool. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil it. It is the best Deadpool in the series by far. By far. The amount of call-outs to the rest of the MCU universe is astronomical. Like every single thing. Like, make sure before you go watch it that you've watched all the Lokis. For maximum enjoyment, watch all of the Lokis. Watch all of the MCU, pretty much all the MCU movies all the way through. I think the only person that probably isn't that significant is Captain Marvel, right? But everybody else, like, go through, because they touch on everything. This movie literally tied together more Marvel shit than any other Marvel movie I've watched so far to date.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's just the whole movie just keeps the references coming and the jokes coming throughout the entire thing. Hugh Jackman pulls off like the best Wolverine performance of his entire life. It's absolutely hilarious. Get ready for the most violent Disney movie you've ever seen in your entire life. Like, I cannot believe that Disney greenlit this. Like, it's like honestly, Kill Bill is not even as bad as this is. Like, it is
cool.
The amount of violence in this movie and the amount of just like sheer stabbing in the nuts and, you know, nothing's off limits. I'll just put it that way. Nothing is off limits in this movie at all. Like, if there's something that you know that they can't talk about, they put the focus on it immediately. Throughout the entire movie, it does this. So, nice. And the ending is actually pretty good too. So, but I will say right now, hands down, best Deadpool movie by an absolute landslide. I don't know how they could possibly one up this. Like honestly, in my head after watching this, I'm like, they pulled out every trick that they possibly could. I won't say that they burned every bridge because again, they're doing the multiverse thing. So yeah, because it's the multiverse thing, they can bring anybody back from the dead. They can do anything they want. But I will say that the cameos that they do in this movie are going to fucking blow your mind. Like, there were so many moments in the theater where everybody starts cheering because, like, somebody just shows up that the trailer didn't show that you're like, holy shit, I can't believe this person is in this movie right now. And then it's absolutely not what you think. Every time. The fucking movie gets you every time. Every single time you see something that you think you know what's happening or you think you know that person and you know what's going on, they completely pull the rug out from underneath you. And it's fucking hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. Cool. Ryan probably controlled the whole process. I kind of get that feeling.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, I think so. Like even from the very first one, like he pushed so hard and like put his own money into it and stuff, and like to really make sure that it was the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and the sex references are off the hook. The sexual acts that he describes throughout this movie just keep getting worse and worse and worse. And there's a cameo from another person playing another MCU person that has never been in any of the modern MCU movies, right? But this person has such a fucking potty mouth and the things that they say, they keep trying to one-up Ryan Reynolds, and it's hilarious. Nice. Like they just keep getting worse and worse to the point where Deadpool even has to stop them because they've gone too far. So it's rad. It's absolutely rad. And the cool thing is it even brings in characters I didn't even know were a part of the Marvel universe. Like there's people showing up that you're just like left and right that you're like, I didn't know that was a Marvel character. Like I didn't know that. Oh my God, that's from a movie like 20 years ago that like what flopped in the box office, right? It's good. And the person that plays Cassie Nova, fantastic casting on this lady that plays, female Charles Xavier or like his twin sister or whatever. She fucking kills it. She is an amazing actress. I love how she plays the character. It's badass. So yeah, if you have not seen Deadpool 3, definitely worth going to the movies for 100%. Or nice. I should say Deadpool and Wolverine is what they're calling it, right? Have I seen the special Deadpool and Wolverine Alpine livery for the Belgian GP? They're on fire. Oh, no, I didn't. Did they really pull out a livery for a car? Oh, that's hilarious. There is a joke scene after the credits worth sticking around for. I missed it. Oh, I'm sad. I'll have to go watch it again now. I had to leave immediately after the movie ended because I only had 45 minutes to get to the doctor's appointment. So I had to like book it out of the theater. So sadly, I didn't get to watch the after credits scene. So I'll have to find somebody who like snuck a video online or something so I can get the full experience. Can we have an episode of RTFM show with you, please? What does Read the Fucking Manual show?
I think that's Jay's podcast.
Oh, is that Jay's podcast?
Or video thing, yeah. I think so. I'm pretty sure.
I messaged Jay a few days ago, but I didn't hear back from him, so I don't know what's going on. I know his dog had to go to the vet, and I mean we haven't talked in a long time.
We
so
better
I don't.
Get Keemstar on the line, man. Some fucking YouTube drama.
God damn, yeah. No, the last person that I ever want.
Or who's doing YouTube drama these days? Is Keem still the guy? Or
fuck, I don't know. I have him blocked everywhere. Anybody talks about him, I just nuke him. Right? Like I don't want anything to do with that piece of shit. Like, seriously.
We could talk to like what is it? Moist Critical. I think he's a big commentator these days, right?
Yeah, Moist Critical. He does. It seems like everybody's picked up drama these days,
gross.
which just bugs the shit out of me. I wish that everybody would just drop it. It's like everybody's just trying to hurt each other nowadays. That's one of the reasons why I'm not really happy about like the idea of coming back to YouTube is because YouTube used to be just like a fun place where you created things. People either liked it, they didn't like it, they left, or they just trolled you and didn't come back. Nowadays, it's just all about trying to catch people out and trying to deal maximum damage for entertainment. It's like people don't realize.
It's all just
do you feel like people have become desensitized? Like this generation, like younger than us, right, have become completely desensitized to like a human. Like they don't see humans, they see NPCs. Like when they're sitting there watching a video of somebody destroying another person's life, they get off on it. They literally think that it's not fucking with people's real lives and like affecting all the people around them.
Yeah, 100%. If they're not like, if they don't like interact with them in real life, then it's like it's just a character. It's almost not real. It does seem that way.
That just makes me so sad because it seems like and then you have things like where YouTube puts a focus on that, so then other people are like, look at all the views they're getting. Because here's the thing, if you reward somebody for doing something bad, they will keep doing a bad thing. Like if doing a bad thing, I mean, a great example is Elon Musk. If he can make more money committing a crime than paying the penalty for committing the crime, what's stopping him from keep committing the crime? He just every time he does it, he makes more money than he loses. So why would you not keep doing that? The punishment has to be enough that you don't want to commit the crime again. I feel like when you look at it through the lens of like drama tubers, everybody moving to drama is like you're getting rewarded for it. When you do a drama video, you get more views, more likes, more money than you do if you do a conventional video. And because of that, now you want to do more drama videos because clearly you get more attention, more money, more fame. You grow faster. Therefore, now that becomes what you focus on. And I see it with everybody. It's like you said, like even my favorites, like people that I absolutely love that were used to do nothing but gaming and tech and commentary and stuff like that. They're all transitioning to drama. Like where I see, like I'd say 50% or more of what they do now is drama. And it's because drama videos get more views than anything else. And I fucking hate it.
It's easy. It's like low
super
effort.
Low effort.
You don't have to do. I mean, honestly, I don't want to come off like hypocritical or anything because it's kind of like what we're doing, right? We're not pushing like a lot of the negativity or whatever, but it's still it's basically what we're doing, right? We're commentating on what's going on in tech industry and news and things. and we do. And I don't know about you, I do it because it is easy.
Yeah,
it's easy. It's easy to sit here and shoot this shit with my buddies. So,
but this isn't hurting anybody. We're being happy. We're not trying to hurt people. Yeah, so that's the big difference.
That's the difference.
Tutorial Clan said, let's see, or said Boogie's been all over the internet. Keemstar, I don't like Keemstar exploiting Boogie. Keemstar exploits everybody. He's exploited every friend he's ever had. He's exploited everybody. Like literally, he even like tried to drive my friend to suicide, and I had to literally drive to his house to fucking like feed him because he refused to eat and keep an eye on him because he was on suicide watch. The dude is like fucking pure cancer, right? He doesn't give a shit about anything but himself and his pocketbook. That's it. And here's the thing. I want to go on the record saying I warned Boogie multiple times on the phone because I used to talk to Boogie quite a bit. Me and him go back for DMs, talk on the phone and everything. And I told him every time I saw him buddying up to Keemstar buddying up to him trying to get, I said, stay the fuck away from him. Keemstar will stab you in the back. Every single person, he's always stabbed in the back. He'll set you up. He'll make you seem like you're important. And then once the views start slowing down or he can get more views by stabbing you, he will instantly transition on that path and destroy you. And Boogie's like, oh, no, I think he's changed. I really don't think. No, he hasn't changed. He did exactly what I said was going to happen. And it fucking sucks because I see it happen over and people fall for it every single time. I tell them. And I just thought, I'm not warning anybody anymore because I'm just done. Because I've given him the warning. I see the shit transpire. I see him buddying up and I DM him on the download. I said, listen, this is the shit. Here, I'll itemize it. Here's the shit Keemstar did to Brandon Asher, a.k.a. Basherverse, a.k.a. Toasty Time. Rest in peace now. Here's the people that he's literally fucking driven to off themselves. Like, fucking stay away from this guy. And they're like, oh, no. It's not like that. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, no, I'm in control. No, you don't know what you're fucking with. Like this guy is his family runs a law firm. His brother's a lawyer. He will put maximum fucking pressure on you and cause infinite amounts of damage if you do anything with him. The best thing to do is ignore him. Because if you ignore him, he can't get any views. He can't get any traction. He'll try to threaten you. He'll try to blackmail you. He'll try to force you to engage. And if you ignore him the whole time, he has to move on to something else because he can't get any money with a one-sided story. It just falls apart too fast. But the second he can get his hooks in, he can scare you into starting to respond or scare you into start defending yourself. The second you fucking do that, he's got you. And he'll run you into the dirt. So, but just if you see people, if you see him trying to exploit people or trying to buddy up with them or acting like he's their friend and trying to defend them, and just watch out because that's the first step. And then he brings you in, drags you in, milks you for everything you got, and then destroys you and leaves you for dead. That's what he does. So stay the fuck away. I'm just that's the smartest advice I could give to you. Let's see here. NGL. I'm not even sure who Keemstar is. I've heard the name, but never watched the stuff. Hate the drama crowd. Yeah, just stay away from him. It's not even worth it. It's honestly not even worth it. And YouTube protects him. He's always had a deal with YouTube, and because of his access to legal, because his family's basically full of lawyers and stuff, he can put a lot of pressure on YouTube and Google that they will not cross him. Like they will just let him do whatever and break every TOS. Like every once in a while, they've kind of they've put the foot on him a little bit, but it takes a lot for them to do anything. And then the second that the heat's off of him and he just like lays low just a little bit, he instantly comes back and they open the door for him. So if you think any platform is going to act against him, they won't. None of his sponsors will either. All of his sponsors, that's why I don't fuck with Gamer Fuel anymore, is because Gamer Fuel knew exactly what he did. I provided him with all the evidence and everything that he did to Brandon that drove him almost off himself, and they don't care. They just do not give a fuck. All they care about is money. So, and as long as he can extract money from companies that'll look the other way, no matter how much you physically harm people, or mentally and physically harm people, there's nothing you can do. All you can do is just ignore it. So that's what I do. I just ban. Let's see here. James Campbell said, I really hate that the version of the future we're headed towards is the Wayland Yutani reality from the Alien franchise. Oh, yeah. Wayland Industries or whatever. Yeah, totally. I haven't seen all of the Alien movies. I've only seen like the first Alien movie and Prometheus. But yeah, the whole idea of just disposable humans that you just pay them money to go out into space and just treat them like they're numbers instead of people, and just throw them to the wolves. And if somebody dies, you just leave them for dead or whatever and replace them with another person because it's just cheap. Is there a reason why Drama Alert is no longer active on YouTube? What are you talking about? There's no way it's not active.
I mean, their last video was a year ago.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's great fucking news then. Oh, but did he just start a new channel?
I mean, it doesn't matter. He's probably. I mean, he's very active on Twitter, so he's probably getting his money there.
Yeah, he's getting his money from somewhere, for sure. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if he hasn't just like started another channel. Or he does the live stream, right? He transitioned to the live stream he does now. So now he's doing live streaming because there's just more money in that. That's just crazy. But yeah, just stay away from that shit. It's all cancer. It's all fucking cancer. Tyler said, what are your reactions when you heard about Trump assassination and Biden dropping out? I'm glad Biden dropped out. Like, I was worried at first. I was scared shitless, but no, the results speak for themselves. Like Kamala is already beating Biden in like all the state polling across the board for like everything, especially in the battleground states, which is exactly what we needed. So I think the most important thing she has to do right now is to pick a good running mate. And so if she can pick the right running mate to get everybody involved and vote for her, I mean, Trump's done. But we can't become complacent. Everybody vote. There's no reason. Don't go, there's no way he could possibly win. We're so far ahead. Yeah. Don't go vote. No, that's how he won in 2016. Don't let that happen again. Vote. If you can vote and you can register to vote, go vote. Like 100% vote. Absentee ballot, doesn't matter. Go to the polls. However you got to do it, just vote. Because this is probably the single most important election of your entire life. Like, for sure. And if you guys haven't been paying attention, Trump just spoke to he did the Christian, it was like Christian University or whatever, 4-hour live stream the other night. And he literally said verbatim and did it 4 times. He wanted to make sure he was clear on this. He said, all I need is for you Christians to vote for me this one last time. And you will never have to vote again, because once I'm in the office, I'm rigging it. So you will never have to vote again. The system will be fixed. So the only system where you don't have to vote again is a system where it's an autocracy, right? Because if you're not voting, you're not picking. So he's picking. And he's saying if he's president, he will make sure that you will never have to pick or vote for another president again, because he will do that for you. He'll take that burden off you. So, yeah, we definitely have to put a stop to this shit. It's amazing it's gotten this far. James Campbell said Keem equals psychopath. Oh, yeah, and always has been. Always has been. I even watched him like his childhood friend, Only Use Me Blade or whatever. I watched him just like throw him to the wolves the second that he could make $1 off of it. Tyler said, what was your reaction? Oh, I already read that one. Sorry.
What do you got? Oh, we should talk about the Intel thing.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, there's some good questions about this. Like Ryan was saying, what do you guys think Intel can do to salvage the mess they created? A massive recall, run to the boards and make a new generation, accept defeat and refund every single customer. What can be done? Oh man, those are really good questions, because what I've been seeing is they're staying quiet so far. So just a few days ago, they put out this isn't even like an official, like, this isn't like a press release or anything. This is just an update on the instability reports on here, I'll paste it here. Based on extensive analysis of the Intel Core 13, 14th Gen desktop processors returned to us due to instability issues, we have determined that elevated operating voltage is causing instability issues in some 13, 14 Gen desktop processors. Our analysis of returned processors confirms that the elevated operating voltage is stemming from a microcode algorithm, resulting in incorrect voltage requests to the processor. Intel is delivering a microcode patch which addresses the root cause of exposure to elevated voltages. We're continuing validation to insert scenarios of instability reported, blah, 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 are addressed. Intel is currently targeting mid-August for patch release to partners following full validation. We're committed to making this right with our customers, and we continue asking any customers currently experiencing instability issues on their 13, 14 Gen desktop processors to reach out to Intel customer support for further assistance. There was also, I happened to stumble across, do I still have it open? This was just a couple days ago as well. 2 days after that announcement, somebody in Germany, Igor's lab, claims that Intel didn't share the whole story and is still investigating other root causes of Raptor Lake instability. This is out of Tom's Hardware. Apparently, just the quick bullet points. Intel observes a significant increase to the minimum operating voltage across multiple cores on returned affected processors from customers. This increase is similar in outcome to parts subjected to elevated voltage and temperature conditions for reliability testing. Factors contributing to this increase include elevated voltage, high frequency, and elevated temperature. Even under idle conditions at relatively cool temperatures, sporadic elevated voltages are observed when the processor is resumed from low power states in order to service background operations before entering a low power state again. At a sufficiently high voltage, these short duration events can accumulate over time, contributing to the increase in VMIN, that's the minimum operating voltage. Intel analysis indicates a need to reduce maximum voltage requested by the processor in order to reduce or eliminate accumulated exposure to voltages, which may result in an increase to Vmin. While Intel has confirmed elevated voltages impact the increase to Vmin, investigation continues in order to fully understand root cause and address other potential aspects of this issue. Man, bro, yeah, I don't know how because if this is, I mean, if the so they're shooting for mid-August, that's, I mean, still another 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away. Oh, the Buildzoid video and MLID videos are really informative. I'll have to look into that. Buildzoid's he's like an extreme overclocker guy. Yeah, man. I don't know how they're going to fix this. If the microcode thing isn't enough, I don't know. And this is really, it's a shame. It's a shame because they were doing really well. They have like an engineer at the top of the stack now. They're Intel's a big ship. So like, I know whoever it is, Pete Grizzler or something like that. I can't remember the new big boss at Intel, but he's not a sales and marketing guy, right? He's like an engineer, and they were doing a really good job at. It seemed like, from my perspective as a consumer, that they were. It's a big ship, so it takes a while to reorient, but they were on the path to that, and I feel like this is an issue stemming from prior leadership, probably. But man, this is gonna be a big one.
When will
I
they
don't know
know
how they're gonna fix this?
When will they know for sure that it's
they're shooting? They're shooting for mid-August for the microcode update after validation and stuff.
Yep.
And then it's probably going to be at least another month or two before it gets spread out to enough people. But there was another link. Oh, there was another link. It was from WCCF Tech. They, I guess, spoke to Intel. Here, I'll post that one too.
I really hope that it's not a microcode fix, kind of like those other two that they had to do for security that slowed the processor down significantly. That would really fucking suck, dude.
Yeah, which, I mean, that wasn't that bad even. Like, it was like a blip and everybody kind of got along with it. It wasn't that big a deal.
I heard that there were certain operations, though, that were really slowed down by like up to 20%, but I guess they worked around it by patching Windows or something like that. So they did find a way around it.
Yeah, there's a Windows thing too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Intel denies possibility.
This is deep. This is deep into the core of Spectre and Meltdown. Yeah.
They can fix this though through just a microcode update is what they think, right?
Yeah.
Because if they can't fix this with a microcode update, that could potentially be a global recall of like every processor, which they can't replace that fast because chip production is so low.
They're talking. So I guess The Verge was able to pose some questions directly to Intel. So let's look at we'll open that. But this is a kind of a TLDR. Will Intel issue a recall? No. Has Intel halted sales or performed any channel inventory recalls while it validates the update? No. Will Intel extend its warranty on these 13, 14 gen parts, and for how long? No answer given. Given how difficult this issue was for Intel to pin down, what proof will customers need to share to obtain an RMA? How lenient will Intel be? No question, no answer. And then it says Intel 13, 14 gen desktop processors with 65 watts or higher base power, including K, KF, KS, and 65 watt non-K variants, could be affected by the elevated voltages issue. However, this does not mean that all processors listed are or will be impacted by the elevated voltages issue. So they all could be, but it doesn't necessarily mean they all will be.
I'd almost call bullshit on that, because if it's a microcode issue, it should affect every CPU that's using that same microcode for that power.
Well, like, I guess maybe on some of the lower end SKUs, the elevated voltages might not be enough to be a problem.
Or wait, didn't you say that the motherboard, if the motherboard does the right thing, it also renders this pretty inert, right?
Yeah.
So like certain motherboards that restrict the CPU properly, the microcode doesn't matter in that arena.
Even still, no. From what my interpretation of this is, even still, because like they were talking about low power states and coming back from a low power state, that's regardless. Like, okay, you're having trouble. The thing might spike when it's trying to wake up or wake up and go back down. Like, they found oxidation on the chips. I heard something about that too. I meant to watch the Gamers Nexus video ahead of the stream today to hear about this oxidation thing. Yeah,
let me look curious. This up. So let's see here. Intel chip oxidation. Okay, so Intel has finally tracked down the problem, making 13 and 14 gen CPUs crash. So this is the Ars Technica article. Let's see here. So for several months, Intel has been investigating reports that high-end 13 and 14th generation desktop CPUs, mainly but not exclusively the Core i9 13900K and 14900K, were crashing during gameplay. Intel partially addressed the issue by insisting that third-party motherboard makers adhered to Intel's recommended default power settings in their motherboards, but the company said it was still working to identify the root cause of the problem. The company announced yesterday that it has wrapped up its investigation and the microcode update to fix the problem should be shipping out to motherboard makers in mid-August following full validation. Wait a second, CPU microcode update. Why would they be shipping it to the motherboard manufacturers? Because wouldn't you be running the microcode update yourself as the consumer? Just like with Spectre and Meltdown?
Well, to package it into a BIOS update.
Oh, so it just happens automatically. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, microcode updates like this generally require a BIOS update. So exactly when the patch hits your specific motherboard will be the company made. Oh, I see. Okay, so the BIOS needs to deploy the update because it also needs to make a change itself to suit. So it has to happen at the same time. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Intel says that analysis of defective process. God, they got to make sure they don't fuck this up. They could brick so many people. Confirm the elevated operating voltage is stemming from the microcode algorithm, resulting in incorrect voltage request to the processor itself. In other words, the CPU is receiving too much power, which is degrading stability over time. If you're using a 13 or 14 generation CPU and you're not noticing any problems, the microcode update should prevent your processor from degrading. But if you're already noticing stability, okay, so they're saying even if you don't have stability problems, this increased voltage could be degrading your CPU faster than it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So Tom's Hardware report that the bug caused irreversible degradation of the impacted processors and that the fix will not be able to reverse the damage that is already done. Obviously, because if it's already oxidized, you're fucked. You're gonna need more voltage. There has been no mention of 12th generation processors, including the Core i9 12900K, 12900K, which is good because that's what's going into my system. Thank goodness. Suffering from the same issue. The 12th gen processors use Intel's Alder Lake architecture, whereas the high-end 13 and 14 gen chips use a modified architecture called Raptor Lake that comes with higher clock speeds, a bit more cache memory, and additional E-cores. Tom's Hardware also says that Intel will continue to replace the CPUs that are exhibiting problems that the microcode update shouldn't noticeably affect CPU performance. Oh, so it sounds like they're going to replace affected CPUs even out of warranty. Like
they better.
So
but how do you prove it?
Well, I mean, if your CPU isn't working, right? Like if your CPU is dead from like oxidation or it like burned it up.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like if somebody overclocked it and blew it up on purpose themselves, how could they tell the difference?
Yeah.
My guess is they can't. So they would have to just give the benefit of the doubt to the user. But we'll have to see how that goes.
Tutorial Clan's got a good point. And I saw this elsewhere as well. Jay's 2 cents was saying that any chip that's already unstable, it's already fried. Yeah. There was somewhere in I think it was part of the leak thing. It was either the leak thing or the one from the Verge questions. They said that basically if it's damaged, it's damaged. It's permanent. Like it's broken. It's broken something.
Yeah, you can't undo oxidation on a metal surface with electricity. Like you'd have to take it apart.
If you're having any crashes and stuff, you're probably fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
and actually, this is relatable to back when I had my first i7 processor that I overclocked. I remember that when I overclocked it, because I had to give it extra voltage to get it stable at 5 gigahertz. And actually, no, 4 gigahertz. This would have been back in the 4 gigahertz days. What am I talking about? So it was a 3.2 gigahertz processor that I overclocked to 4 gigahertz. And I was on liquid cooling, but I remember that I had to increase the voltage, and every 6 months it would become unstable, and I'd have to increase the voltage a little more and a little more and a little more. And after about 2 years, I got to the point where the voltage was so high that I couldn't get it stable anymore, and I had to start backing off the clock speed. So that just proves that the more voltage that you pump in over stock, the more voltage you put in, the more wear and tear you are putting on those pathways on the processor. And over time, you're going to have to push more voltage to overcome that oxidation because it's going to reduce the conductivity of the material. Because of that oxidation lever isn't going to be that oxidation isn't going to be as conductive as the base metal that oxidized. So over time, you're just going to have to keep pushing more and more power, which is going to generate more and more heat. And you're eventually going to get to a point where you have too much heat that you can't dissipate it. Like you can't actually thermally pull it away from the pathways through the heat sink, the heat spreader, and into the heat sink and dissipate it fast enough, no matter what cooling system you have, quite frankly. So that's interesting. And besides, what is the life cycle, like the expected life cycle of a CPU or whatever is what, like on average, like 10 years or something like that? I want to say that, like here,
probably.
How long does
if you want to
CPU
if you're not
last
worried about like upgrades and stuff, it's going to be a bit of a
because I want to say that it was like projected like 10 years or something like that is what the expected lifespan of a CPU is. Yeah, a modern CPU can... Oh, shit. No, I was wrong. Modern CPU can last decades, not just a decade, decades, if it's not overclocked and is properly maintained. The most important factors to prolonging your CPU's longevity are adequate cooling, regular maintenance, so keeping the case fans, filters clean, get rid of dust buildup, and normal usage. Using the CPU within its specified limits and avoiding constant heavy workloads. In most cases, CPU tends to outlive their usefulness as technology advances. I mean, that is true, because, I mean, people are still using retro CPUs from, like, the 80s and shit, right? That are in these museums running all day, every day for people to fuck with. So, however, I will say modern CPUs probably have well, not probably, they do have smaller pathways than retro CPUs. So the smaller those pathways get, the more delicate they become, right? So as technology gets faster and faster and faster, and you get more and more stacks of transistors, that's going to be more heat, less material, more prone to warping. And think about how easy it would be to short an internal pathway in a CPU when you're talking about literally millions of pathways within, microns of each other. And it's like, what happens if you get oxidation, essentially rust buildup on the surface of these pathways? I mean, that could short them, right? You could actually get shorts across these pathways where voltage could jump because you're using modern CPUs that use a lot more power, and you're increasing the power, increasing the heat. I can totally see it where CPUs just start glitching and become unstable and start flipping bits and shit just because pathways and voltage is jumping where it shouldn't. And if you increase the voltage enough, you're eventually going to get to a point where you can just jump the gap between these things without any oxidation. I'd imagine if you get the voltage high enough, you'll hit a point where it's like the heat isn't the problem initially. It's literally the voltage just spreading everywhere and not going where it's supposed to. I mean, I'm assuming. I don't know. I'm not an electrical engineer, so... but I would imagine from watching things like Jacob's ladders and Van de Graaff generators and stuff like that, it seems like the higher the voltage is, the further it can jump an air gap. So if you're talking about all these itty bitty tiny little pathways going through a CPU that are microns apart, if that voltage and current gets high enough, you could start jumping that gap, right? And if you do that, then you're fucked, because you're going to activate your little transistors, or not transistors. What am I talking about? Transistors, right? Where you're flipping them, right, to create the paths. Because that's all a CPU is. It's just a gate array, right? It's just a bunch of gates that open and close that allow voltage through or restrict voltage. So if the voltage starts jumping these lanes, you're going to start activating pathways that aren't supposed to be activating and creating logic errors. Let's hear. Have a good week, guys. Please take care of your folks later. Hey, take it easy, GTB. Thank you for stopping by. We really do appreciate it. Let's see here. Hey, what's up, George? Always good to see you. George never misses a show, by the way. 283 watts full power. Is that the draw of a 13900K? That's insane.
I think that's like the top end. That's the top end TDP, I think. Yeah.
That just blows my mind. I mean, that's over half the voltage of like honestly, a 4090.
It's the only way look at the last 3 generations. They've been just outrageously power hungry and hot since the Ryzen 3000 series. They've been behind since. And yeah, the only thing that they can think to do is just push more electricity through it. Don't know what and that's what I mean. It's like I feel like this is a holdover from old decisions being made in manufacturing process and architecture and things and design. And I've heard rumors, around that Intel was investigating a similar sort of chiplet design. And I think that's kind of what they were transitioning to with this P&E core thing.
Yeah.
But just look at it. Look at it from the 9000 series Intels all the way to today. It's just been more power. And AMD has been like fucking big ass. Just, I mean, you get 1 million cores at the same sort of voltage or frequencies and stuff, and it's just bonkers. AMD did the right thing with their little Infinity Fabric chiplet thing.
I'm shocked that we're still on x64 architecture, honestly, because x64 is just a modification of x86. It's not even that new. So, like, ARM is where we need to be. Like, everybody needs to be moving to ARM, but it seems like I'm wondering why we haven't made the switch. Like, we have the software infrastructure in place, right? Like Microsoft and Linux both have systems in place to run native x86 code on ARM. So not as efficiently as running it like directly, but enough that you could get that transition, right? So you could run your software today while they're transitioning to tomorrow.
Yeah, I think for regular stuff, it's probably just a matter of infrastructure.
Yeah. Anybody running runtimes, right? Like if you're using like the Java, .NET framework, anything like that, then it doesn't matter because at runtime, you're going to be compiling the code for that native architecture. So you can run the same exact code, the intermediary language, right? You can run that on both ARM and x64, fully taking advantage of the strengths and weaknesses of those platforms. So I just feel like we're in a good place right now to do that. The tooling for ARM is not there yet. Oh, what do you mean, Elliot? Like, are you saying that they can't make them at that volume, or?
Yeah, that's it. That's where my head was at as well. Is just demand volume. You can't just shift an entire 50-year-old industry over to a different kind of chipset or chip design. You know,
I guess I kind of figured that it would just be like. I think I was looking at it simplistically, like they just, an ultra lithography machine, you just change out the stencil, right? And now you create the new architecture. It's supposed to be, I thought it was that simple.
I think it's probably more complicated, but not to mention though, I do think we're on that path with these recent Apple moving to their own ARM style chips, and
because ARM is way more efficient.
Put out
light years more efficient.
Yeah, they just put out Windows 11 for ARM.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So I think there is motion in the overall computing industry that is heading that way. But
isn't Microsoft building their own CPUs now too, or something that have kind of like what Apple did, where they can run x64 code natively on ARM really fast? I thought I heard that a couple of months ago that they were releasing a new type of system that has a new type of processor here. Microsoft new line of ARM PCs,
probably for their Surface Pros or whatever.
Yeah, because everybody was complaining at how slow they run. Like Windows, if you bought the Surface X, which was ARM, it ran x86 and x64 code, but it ran it really slow. Like Photoshop and Adobe products ran like garbage. But if you're on M1, you can run the x64 version of Adobe Premiere, and it runs just as good, if not better, than on bare x64 architecture. So, okay, it says right here, but Wednesday, Microsoft revealed in a blog post it's working on a solution. The company is preparing an emulator for ARM-based devices capable of running x86 64-bit Windows applications. The emulator will start rolling out in November as a beta. It still calls it an emulator, though, so that doesn't imply hardware. Let's see here. The emulator will start rolling out in November in beta through the Windows Insider program. And it says, Microsoft said more app partners are embracing Windows on ARM. This includes the Surface Pro X and the Lenovo Flex 5G and the Samsung Galaxy Book S. The emulator promises to make products a little more appealing. Windows on ARM devices are best suited for 32-bit and 64-bit apps specifically designed for ARM architecture, but many software vendors have yet to port their PC applications to this architecture. As a result, ARM-based hardware faces a limited library of apps. Yeah, and that's the problem, right? So I thought I heard that Microsoft was combating this by creating a new line of PCs that could run x64 code at native speeds on ARM. Let's see here. No, that's 2021. That's too old. If you guys know the name of the technology, let me know in chat if you guys are familiar with what I'm describing. Because I did hear that this was a big deal. Okay, a step forward for gaming on ARM devices. This year at Microsoft Build 2024, we announced a new set of Windows devices. Oh, yeah, the Copilot Plus PCs. That's right. So the Copilot Plus PCs are a new class of Windows 11 PCs, including an ARM-powered device. They're powered by the Snapdragon X Series CPU, and the new ARM devices have cutting-edge new processor power coming from the CPU, GPU, and NPU, or Neural Processing Unit. This new hardware, in combination with innovations in Windows 11, is a step forward for ARM gaming. A few weeks ago, we showed several initiatives that improve the gaming experience on ARM-based Copilot Plus PCs, advancements such as Prism emulation, automatic super resolution, progress bringing fan-favorite games that use anti-cheat to ARM, and the launch of Lenovo's new game compatibility site Works on WOA.com, and a demonstration of the Unity game engine editor operating natively on ARM. And this post will dive into each of these with detail and innovate. Okay, so it does sound like these new PCs that they're creating are system on chip, PC, graphics, and neural processing unit. And they're claiming that combined with a bunch of the software changes they're making are allowing x64 games to run better and more natively on ARM. And it says it supports anti-cheat. If it supports x64 anti-cheat, then that means that they're able to load x64 code down at the kernel level, because that's where anti-cheat lives, right? So they've somehow rectified that, which was a problem before. And then it says, okay, we've been working with Unity to bring the industry-acclaimed Unity engine to ARM-based Windows devices. During Microsoft Build 2023, we showed Unity runtime support for ARM-based Windows devices in their 2023.1 release, enabling developers to bring their titles to this new hardware. Fast forward to Microsoft, is honestly, Unity is important, but I'd say Unreal is infinitely more important than Unity as far as porting. Fast forward to Microsoft Build 2024, where they showcased the Unity editor, revealing editor running natively on ARM, demonstrated in the newly introduced Copilot Plus PCs. In the latest Unity 6 preview release, Unity has boosted rendering performance with DirectX 12, backend improvements, added all new build profiles to stream build management, and simplify multiplayer game creation to end-to-end solutions like Unity Cloud Service Integration, Multiplayer Center, and Multiplayer Play Mode. So it looks like they're providing the ARM tools for these developers to more easily port their games, but it's still not really fixing the problem of the games running natively x64. Like, it's not going to be like Apple where they're running as good or better. It's always going to be worse. So I guess I misunderstood this technology when they talked about it originally, because I understood it. They were doing something with their chips in these Copilot Plus PCs that would make them very similar to like how the M1, M2 works, where you can run x64 code natively at near perfect performance. Let's see. Your anti-cheat on Windows on ARM does not run in kernel mode. Oh, seriously, Elliot? Because I thought that was a huge problem just like last year. Wasn't there a company that was running their anti-cheat in kernel that was like causing computer instability issues and they got in a bunch of trouble for it? I mean, if they move it out of kernel mode, that's great. Because honestly, but here's the problem is how do they get it to run out of kernel mode? Because if any cheat runs in kernel mode, it can now circumvent the anti-cheat system. Because that's how I understood it, is if your anti-cheat is running in user mode, then any code that you implement that can run in kernel mode, which you can put the PC in dev mode and load a kernel driver, or you can run a service that's executing kernel code. If you do that, then you'd be able to look into the memory space of the anti-cheat and fuck with the anti-cheat software. Whereas if the anti-cheat software was running in kernel, it could circumvent that as long as it loaded first. But I'm curious. Microsoft does not want to run anything other in kernel mode on ARM. In Windows x86, it's spilled milk. Oh, you're saying on ARM. In ARM, they're not running in kernel mode. Okay. To be honest, I know very little about ARM. Other than ARM is the future, ARM is much more efficient. ARM is RISC, so it's a reduced instruction set processor, which makes it faster. Well, not faster because there's instructions that would make it a lot of things faster on x86, but it's more efficient. And you can have a lot more cores, a lot less power, a lot more cycles overall. But I know multi-threaded programming is like hugely important with ARM. Like hugely important. Oh, by the way, I have to mention something. I don't know if you guys saw that link I sent out earlier, but did you see the picture that just got posted to X showing Trump's ear without the patch on it?
Oh, yeah.
Not even a scratch. Yep. Not even a scratch.
Yeah,
it looks absolutely dumb. Not even a week, and his ear is fully healed. So when he described it as it blew the top of his ear off and pierced a hole through it.
And he had some rando fucking old White House doc put out a fucking statement saying, oh, it was like 2.5 centimeters or whatever. 2.5 centimeters, like 3/4 of an inch.
Yeah. Yeah, itty bitty.
That's like that.
And it's not even that. If you look at the picture, you can clearly see where it healed. It's like not even, it's like that.
What heal? What it's heal? Like There's no healing.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It looks like slightly discolored, maybe just ever so slightly, but it's like a scratch. Like literally a mosquito would have done less damage. But I just think that that's crazy because he wore that big ass fucking patch that covered his entire ear.
I'm so dumb.
And it's clear that he didn't even need a Band-Aid.
No doctor would ever put something like that on there. That was not
a doctor that did that.
Professional expert fucking patch thing.
Yeah,
that's so dumb.
What a fucking joke, man. All politics aside, that is straight up just fucking lying. That is like that. There's no two bits about it. There's no explaining it away. Like, oh, the doctor told me I didn't look under the bandage. No. He literally got his ear barely fucking nicked, if at all. Honestly, I'm starting to question if anything actually hit his ear and he didn't just go, oh my God. Hey, what's up, Yorkshire Techie? Thank you for the £5. Woo! He said, howdy, dudes. How's it hanging? Will you guys be watching any of the Olympics? Any top tips on how to get the most out of LM Studio and top add-ons? You know, I saw the new update to LM Studio. I haven't played with it a whole lot. If I'm honest, I've been being kind of lazy and using Poe a lot lately with Claude in and the new GPT-4o. And so I haven't been playing around with LM Studio a lot lately, but I should be playing with it because I know that they just released 2 major updates, and the second one was pretty damn important. So as far as like the tricks to getting the most out of it, the most important thing that I see people kind of screwing up because it's not really obvious is when you load a model, go over and expand all the fields over on the right and make sure that you have GPU acceleration enabled and cranked up to max. And then for allocated memory, crank it up to the max, like the full memory that your GPU supports, so it tries to load the entire thing on the GPU. Because if it tries to load and run and put the CPU to 0, like for CPU utilization, put it to 0. For GPU utilization, crank it all the way up to max. If you don't do that, it'll load part of the model into your system memory, and it'll slow it down dramatically. It basically takes all the performance out of it. So I wish that they would just enable this by default. I don't know why they don't, because it detects your GPU and it knows it's there. So I wish that just by default it would grab the GPU, but they don't for some reason. They default to CPU. Hey, what's up, networking guy? As far as add-ons, though, I didn't know it supported add-ons. Like, is that something new that they added? Because I haven't done anything with add-ons. The only thing that I've seen is that you can download and load models. I haven't seen any add-ons at all. So, and the version I'm on right now is 0.2.27. So, and they said that they do have an update coming up soon that's supposed to, like, change everything. It's like their biggest update that's supposed to, like, configure everything around. But yeah, fantastic. Fantastic tool if you want to run AI locally and you don't want to pay anything or use any online infrastructure. Oh, by the way, I just loaded it up so I can tell you guys exactly what to do. But in the settings panel on the side, when you load a model, so you want to make sure that you scroll all the way down, expand everything, and let me see if I can find it. Yeah. So keep entire model in RAM. You want that on. You want the GPU cranked up to 100%, GPU offload, enable that, and then crank it up to max. And then you want to find CPU threads, and you want to set that to 0. So CPU thread 0, GPU acceleration off, GPU offload on, and crank it all the way up to max. If you do that and you load a model, provided you have enough GPU memory. If you don't, then you'll have to kind of share it with CPU. But if you load it all on the GPU, it'll be so much faster. Like you won't even believe how much faster it'll be. It's insane. Oh yeah, Gamers Unite said they even stopped the bleeding by the time it got to the hospital. Yeah, I heard that. They did make that statement. They made the statement that when he got to the hospital, there was absolutely no bleeding. So, like, literally without even a bandage or anything, it just stopped bleeding on its own by him putting a napkin on it. And his description, just to be clear, guys, his description that he made in the interview directly following that is he said that he said a bullet pierced his ear, going through it, right? It blew a hole in it. And he said that it destroyed the top of his ear. So that's what he said publicly. He said it destroyed the top of it punched a hole through it and destroyed. And as a matter of fact, he described it so much that even one of his biggest supporters, AK guy, aka Brandon Herrera over on YouTube, did a whole video like reenacting this assassination attempt, shooting a bullet through the ear to show the damage that it would cause. And the damage was pretty fucking extreme. And so he's like, oh man, his ear must be just hamburger under that thing. And that's got to be embarrassing for him to create that video trying to show how much of a badass the president is. And now it turns out he just barely had a scratch on the top, like somebody flicked him in the ear slightly. And he milked the fuck out of it. And did you see? I don't know if you saw the when he addressed the RNC. He stands up and he goes, he's reading off a teleprompter, of course, because he just reads speeches. He can't write any speeches. He has to read something prepared. But he reads it and he's like, the story I'm about to tell you is so difficult for me to talk about that I'll never be able to talk about it again. And this is the only time I'll be able to talk about this assassination attempt because it was so traumatizing. But I'm going to tell you guys about it. And he goes into detail. Oh yeah, blew off the top of my ear, and oh my God, if God hadn't made me move my head, I'd be dead. Blah blah blah. And then after saying all that, what does he do? He goes and takes interviews right after that, and he talks about it and repeats it. Then he goes on Fox News, repeats it. The next day he repeats it again. Then he repeats the whole week on Truth Social and every single post after he said it was too difficult for him to ever talk about it again. I was like, my God, how do people keep supporting this? It's like, but then again, people watch Keemstar, so it's like, yeah, there's plenty of bad people out there. So looks like he scratched his ear with a fingernail. I know, right? He's like scratched a little like zit off the top of it and it bled slightly.
Yeah. Right, something like that.
Yeah,
whatever.
It's just fucked up, man. It's just fucked up. Let's see here. Networking guy said about the Trump pick. I can't find the original posting of it. It just seems like people started posting it within the past few days, and earlier post is not from AP. I'm not really sure what you mean by that, but okay. Brandon did clarify in the video that the ballistic gel is more expensive than flesh. Or expressive. Sorry, I thought you said expensive. I was going to say anything's more expensive than Trump's flesh. Yeah, more expressive than flesh. Yeah, because it's way more elastic, right? And there's no cartilage. But here's the other thing that Brandon didn't really say is because there's cartilage in the ear and the cartilage doesn't stretch like as much as the flesh does, the bullet would have done way more damage. Like instead of the flesh just stretching out and then coming back, like skin is highly elastic. Not as elastic as ballistic gel, but it's highly elastic. But that cartilage would have like just blasted out the back of the ear. And it would have been heavily fragmented with like, it would have been all jaggy and all like hamburgered up. So it actually would have looked worse if it was flesh with cartilage in it than shooting the ballistic gel. And that ballistic gel still was pretty fucking gruesome to watch that. So, but Brandon needs to update his video now because it's completely and totally inaccurate on every possible level because a bullet did not go through his ear. And I'm also confident, like, did you see the FBI director said that it barely touched, he said he can't even confirm that it was a bullet that hit it because the damage profile was so small that he thinks it could be a piece of glass from the teleprompter, which also hit other people and cut them. So it's entirely possible you just got nicked by a piece of glass because a bullet moving that fast, like where it was like warping the air, like as it was like boiling the moisture in the air. If that had clipped the top of his ear, that wouldn't have just taken a nick out of it. It would have just that massive concussive force, I think, would have just blown a huge chunk out of it. But still crazy. You've had a paper cut bleed longer than that.
Yeah, that's I don't know, man.
No, I know you don't like to talk about this shit, but I fucking hate that guy. I fucking hate him with a passion. And I do not want to see that guy in fucking power again. Like I am so fucking mind blown just as a US citizen that there's that many people that are willing to vote for a fucking adjudicated rapist with 34 felony counts, like literally a mobster, like by definition, a fucking mob boss who's flown 7 times on the Lolita Express when the Epstein documents came out that he wanted to keep sealed, by the way. He said, "Oh, I don't want other people getting in trouble." No, he meant he didn't want to get in trouble. Fucking DeSantis releases it, and sure shit, he's the most named person that's flown more with Jeffrey Epstein than anybody else on the Lolita Express. Also, when there were women on the manifest, like young girls on the manifest. So that fucker is just a lying douchebag piece of trash, and I cannot fucking believe that we're in this situation. So, and my statements do not reflect the views of AuxxZillary. My statements are my own. just to be fully clear on that. But yeah, it just pisses me off, man. Fucking pisses me off. Just at this point, hey, I understand. I want to be clear. I understand people that voted for him in 2016 just on policies alone. I get it. Okay, I don't agree with it, but I get it. I don't agree with it on any level, but I get it. But after what you know about him now, after January 6th and all of the lies from that point to here, and all of the convictions and the fucking rape charge and everything, if you still think that he's some kind of Christian savior that's going to save America, like you are, at this point, you no longer get the benefit of the doubt. Like you are just a bad fucking person, in my opinion. My opinion, again, not to share the views of AuxxZillary. That's just me. But I have no problem saying that out loud because that fucker is just trash. And I really hope that our country doesn't have to fucking have a mob boss as a leader that rips down NATO or partners with all of our enemies and basically turns against the world, because we've already been through that once back in World War II, and I don't want to see it happen again. I really don't want to see it happen again. And anybody who's like, oh, you compare him to Hitler? His own vice president called him Hitler. Fucking J.D. Vance called him Hitler, straight up. So you can go look. There's video clip. Like J.D. Vance said that Trump is the most dangerous fucking thing to the United States, and he is quite literally America's Hitler. His words, not mine. So when his own VP pick has changed his mind and gone backward against everything that he previously said, just because Trump offered him power and money, just like he does when he corrupts everybody else that ends up ultimately going to jail for him, you know there's a big fucking problem. So anyways, that's all I'm going to say about that for the moment. What do you guys know about solid state batteries? Did you guys see that solid state batteries are finally starting to show up in consumer products? Ox is like, I'm out of here. I'm gone. No, I'm just kidding. You had to go check on something. So solid state batteries are a thing now. I just noticed this. I watched a video actually this morning on YouTube when I first woke up of these solid state batteries showing up in consumer technology.
I'm going to have to go a little early.
No worries, bro.
Find something.
No. Go ahead and get out of here,
guys.
bro. Not a problem.
Not a problem. Follow me on Twitter and stuff. I'm AuxxZillary everywhere.
Yeah, I'll tell him to get shut down.
Yeah, I got to bail out. I got to find this freaking thing.
Yeah, no worries. So, get out of here, bro.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. And we'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Peace out, bro-ham. And then there was one. Oh, my God. Hey, now I can talk about Trump all I want. No, but seriously, Amazon, let me see if I can find the link. There's a really cool solid state battery. Solid state battery power station. It's made by a company called Yoshino, and they make several different versions of it. They're expensive though, like $700 for their smallest model, and the capacity isn't really there. Like it's super lightweight though, but aside from weight, like for its size, it doesn't really have a ton. Does AuxxZillary not like talking politics? No, not really. He's not particularly into it. He tries to be more of a positive person. He doesn't like the negativity and stuff, and I totally understand that. But I have to talk about it personally because, I have a son who's growing up in a world that Trump is incredibly dangerous. Like Trump would have my son fucking drawn and quartered because he's on the spectrum. So as far as Trump's concerned, he should just be ground up into beef. Like he has no fucking respect for anything that isn't like fucking white and on his team. And so that scares me as a father. As a father, that really does concern me, and it should concern a lot of parents out there. Here's the link. By the way, this company makes several different versions of it, but the really cool thing is it charges super fast. So the strengths of the technology, super lightweight, not really compact. Like it's for the amount of electricity you get, it's actually quite big, but the weight for the battery per capacity is actually pretty good. The charging rate is really good. The number of charge cycles you get on it versus degradation is incredible. It's super safe. Like it's never going to blow up. It's never going to bulge. It's never going to catch fire. And apparently it's really good for charging off of solar too. Like solar is incredibly effective for charging it without needing like a ton of electronic intervention like you do with lithium ion. But the price is kind of up there, $700 basically for a 660 watt, 602 watt hour battery backup. The lithium ion equivalent is going to be more around a megawatt for that size. So, hey Gimpy, what's up, my man? It's good to see you, brother. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Woo woo, yeah. Jerry's views do reflect my own, especially Wolverine and Deadpool takes. Absolutely. Did you see it, Gimpy? Did you see the new Deadpool movie? It's fucking awesome. It is absolutely awesome. Can you explain to us about solid state batteries? Explain to us like we're 5 years old, please. I actually don't know much about the internal technology. All I know is about the strengths and weaknesses versus lithium ion. So basically a solid state battery is like a dry cell. There's no liquid, liquid electrolyte like there is in a lithium ion. And that ends up making it safe. So if the battery gets pierced or punctured, that liquid that would normally cause a short and cause the battery to catch fire doesn't occur. Like you can actually take this battery and smash it with a hammer. You can cut it in half. The other thing is it's more resilient. Like if you damage the battery or you damage a cell on the battery, it doesn't take out the entire battery. The cells that are still intact can still continue to function up to a point. So super, super fucking cool technology. Let's see here. On the Amazon page, scroll down and you'll see the actual size of the battery itself. Super bulky case. Oh, is the battery itself actually pretty small by comparison? Here, let me scroll down. I want to see. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. The battery only makes up about maybe a third of the volume of the case. The rest looks like it's the electronics, like the inverter and stuff like that. Yeah, I know it's pretty light. Like the strengths of this device is it's light, making it easier for like transporting for camping and stuff like that. It's lightweight. It can sit out in the sun and get really hot, and it's not going to malfunction. It's not going to catch fire. You're not going to have the bulging problem where it like starts popping off panels and shit, ultimately exploding. It doesn't have a puncture risk, and it can deliver, I think it's 120 watts. So 24 volts at 5 amps, 120 watts total for 4 hours at 80% charge. So, which honestly isn't that good. Like compared to lithium ion, that's probably only about 60% capacity for size. But it can do 4,000 cycles, 4,000 charge cycles, which is pretty goddamn impressive. And it's the technology is Li-NCM. So instead of lithium ion, it's lithium N's. What does the NCM stand for? Let me see. And they come in all sizes, by the way. You can actually buy a big pack, like they do make the big boy, but it's $3,200, and that'll get you a 4,000 watt. So this is more something that you would use, like, you know, in your camper to, like, you know, back up and run everything in it. But yeah, for the cost, you're going to get a lot more power from lithium ion still. But keep in mind, it's in its infancy. There's not a lot of devices that have these batteries in them yet. So, or I think it's like, what is it, lithium iron phosphate or something? No, this one's not lithium iron phosphate. That's a different battery technology yet again. That's LiFePO4, whereas this technology, this dry cell technology, or this new solid state technology is LINCM. Let me look that up. So let's see here. What is battery technology? Curious. Okay, so give me a second here. Okay, lithium, nickel, cobalt, manganese. That's what it stands for. So LiNCM is lithium, nickel, cobalt, manganese. Battery technology refers to a type of lithium-ion battery that uses a combination of nickel, cobalt, manganese, and cathode material. This blend offers several advantages: higher energy density. So let's see here. Longer cycle life, improved safety. So the combination of these materials enhance the thermal stability of the battery, reducing the risk of overheating. And balanced performance. The mix of nickel, cobalt, and manganese provide a good balance between energy density, power output, and longevity. However, I thought that they didn't use here, hold on. Do LiNCM batteries use a liquid electrolyte? Because I thought that they were dry. They were dry batteries, but let me double check. Okay, never mind. I misled you guys. So yes, no, LiNCM batteries typically do use a liquid electrolyte. So it doesn't, not guaranteed. The electrolyte in those batteries is usually an organic liquid that facilitates the movement of the lithium ions between the anode and the cathode during the charging and discharge cycle. Okay, so I guess it still is a somewhat dangerous battery. It's not going to thermally overload. So it's less likely to blow up from overheating, but if you puncture this battery, it still will burn. So it's safer, but not as safe as dry cell batteries. Those still aren't here yet in electronics. But I know they are testing them. If you see, they do have functioning prototypes of complete dry cell batteries that don't use any liquid electrolyte, that you can literally cut. You can take the packets. You know, they look just like a packet lithium battery like you'd have in your cell phone. You can literally cut it with scissors, and it'll still function, and it doesn't burn. Like, it's fucking rad. But apparently that technology is still too expensive to produce right now for anybody to really want it. Still cool as hell, though. Vermirion, thank you so much for the 11.99 euros. Really do appreciate that support, man. That's really awesome of you. Woo! All right, so the networking guy said it's up to 33% lighter than lithium ion. Which I mean is great, right? But you also do lose capacity too. I know that its capacity isn't as good as traditional lithium ion, but super light. And if you're going to be carrying around this battery and packing it with you in and out of places to camp and shit, like, that weight makes a big difference, right? So 100 watt solar, 6.5 hours to 80%. That's not bad. They really don't want you going past 80%. To be fair, most lithium ions, they don't want you going past 80% either. Even what is it, 16850s or whatever, those battery cells, the recommendation on the chart says for maximum longevity, only charge them to 80%. And some chargers will say 100% when it's actually 80%. Like they're actually calibrated so you still get to 80%. And some of them support overcharge that I've seen too, where you can actually push a button and it'll charge to 120%, but it's actually just taking it to 100%, which reduces the battery life. As I understand it, lithium ion, I don't know about this new technology, but lithium ion, you want to always keep it between like 20 and 80% to maximize the longevity of the battery. And the BMS usually tries to do that when the battery goes into storage. If it's not a shitty BMS like DJI uses, that tries to kill the battery on purpose, so you have to buy new batteries every time you pull it out 6 months later. But yeah, if it drops below 20%, then the battery can start to bulge. So like, check this out. I don't know if you guys can see this on camera very well, but this does have a little bit of a bulge out of the top. Actually, what the fuck? Yeah, it is. It's bulged on that side. But I noticed that it started bulging because I left this battery pack. I used to always store it charged. I discharged it 100%, and then I left it for like 6 months, and it started bulging. Same thing happened with a phone. I put a phone in a drawer, and I didn't charge it for like 6 months, and I looked in the drawer, and it started bulging, and it cracked the back and the glass. So yeah, once you get these batteries under like, down to like near zero, like 10% or under, they start swelling, they start breaking down, they start swelling. It's super weird, but as long as you keep it within the 20 and 80%, it just seems to want to last forever. However, they will lose voltage over time because the BMS itself uses voltage or uses power, so the BMS itself will slowly drain the battery. Hey Graham, thank you for the $20. Woo! Super appreciate it, Broham. I really do. Graham said, got your Note 7 nearby? No, it's actually in the garage, locked in a metal ammo case after it started swelling and it broke the screen and broke the back on it. So I wanted to make sure that if it caught fire, it was in a metal box. So it's on the concrete. It's down in the garage on the concrete in the metal box. So if it catches fire and pops off, it's not going to burn anything. Let's see here. Lithium iron phosphate feels good anywhere between 2% and 98%. Yeah, super safe technology too. The lithium iron phosphate batteries are looking super promising. I think they're even going to put them in cars. I think that's a technology they're looking at for cars. Also, which car company is it that doesn't use the round cells? There's a company, I think it's one of the supercar companies, but I think that they're using, or maybe it's it's McLaren. I'm pretty sure it's McLaren that doesn't use the round cells. Like they're not using the 16850s or like the bigger ones like Tesla uses. They're now using like actual flat pack batteries like you'd have in your laptop or in your phone. And they just stack a shitload of those together between like cooling layers, like a heatsink, and put it into a box, and it gives you like the most power density possible because you don't have any empty space. You're not having to deal with the packaging of the round cells. I don't know why other car companies don't do that. Maybe it's more expensive or something. Maybe it's more unsafe. But it does seem to me like that's the best way to do it for power density, right? Is to take those flat packet. What do they call those? Where they're just like they look like a flat package. And then you just stack them, and that's how they do like batteries for drones. If you've ever seen a drone battery, they're always square. And it's because they're just a bunch of stacks of these cells put together in series or whatever to get the voltage that they want. Buy Nevada lithium futures. Or are they doing crazy shit? Network guy said, imagine sliding off the bottom of your car to swap batteries like in your phone from 10 years ago. That would be cool. Like you push a button and your car just drops the battery in your driveway, and then you like back up to the new battery and like suck it up into the belly of the car, and you're good to go again. And you just leave one battery at home to charge where you're out driving with the other battery. That would actually be cool technology. If a company could develop that, where you could change it at home and you didn't need like one of these crazy like, stations that changes out your battery, that'd be super fucking cool. Because then, yeah, you could just leave one battery at home on the charger, and then you like pull into your garage, and it drops your battery into the floor, or maybe it's a really thin battery. Like you use a thin, big battery, it just drops the tray down, and then that just slides out, and then you're into the charger up on the wall, and then the other battery comes down from the wall under the car and like attaches onto it. That'd be pretty fucking cool. Graham, I wish I had the money to invest, but right now I'm broke, brother. I'm down to my last couple of dollars, and then I got to tap my 401k just to survive. And that's probably only going to last about 2 years, and then I'm completely broke other than having to sell my house and use the equity in it to survive unless I can turn things around. Luckily, over the last 2 days, my back has finally shown improvement after 3 months of just being the same maximum level of pain preventing me from doing anything. So now I'm kind of hopeful that things are starting to heal a little bit. So I'm like crossing my fingers, and I'm like, please, 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 please. Because being in agony is what has prevented me from streaming. It's what has prevented me from sitting up here and doing anything in this room. It's why I haven't been doing much at all. And it's been driving me fucking nuts. Because all I do is panic. I'm just in a constant state of panic. Because I'm like, how the hell can I support my family if I don't stream? And how the hell can I stream if I'm in so much pain that I can't entertain people or I can't speak straight, right? Today's the best I felt in a tech talk in over 3.5 months. Since my back got uber injured and we couldn't figure out what the hell was going on, and the $350 fucking injection that insurance wouldn't cover for the steroid injection out of the fluoroscope into my back didn't work, completely ineffective. The changing out the drugs to the buprenorphine and the gabapentin helped a little bit, but didn't have the intended effect. But I think over time, cumulatively, it built up, and maybe that's why I'm starting to get some relief. But it's like everything's just moving so slow. It's driving me nuts. But being in less pain is everything. Like, honestly, out of anything, being in less pain gives me the most hope for being able to recover. So that's what I'm most in, to just do OnlyFans. Yeah, Miss Barnacules won't let me do that. Trust me, I'd do it to support my family. Hey, if I had to spread my butt cheeks for a bunch of French-Canadian bears that threw tips at me so I could survive and pay the bills, hey, I'd do it in a second. You know how I feel about sexuality. I've got zero fucking shame, brother. Jay's 2 cents made a post that made me laugh. He said, sometimes I feel like trying to appease my audience is literally like trying to appease the knights who say knee in Monty Python. Dude, YouTube has just become a really toxic place, sadly. Not just YouTube, social media in general. It's like everything's just drama. You know, I feel like, you know, after 2016, everything went downhill. Then the mishandling of COVID took things further downhill, and it's just been a race to the bottom. And people got trapped at home so long that we don't even know how to talk to each other in person or even see each other as humans anymore. So we just literally get off at each other's destruction. It's like we literally like masturbate to the destruction of another person until it's our turn to get destroyed, and then other people masturbate at the destruction of us, and it's just this endless fucking cycle. It really sucks, man. YouTube is less toxic than X. Oh, hands down. Hands down, X is the single most toxic. X and Truth Social are basically par for the course, like right with each other when it comes to toxicity. And Elon Musk has done a horrible job with X. Honestly, one of the best things for humanity would have been for him to never buy the platform. It's so terrible. And the shit that the constant lies that come out of his mouth, just it's gotten to the point now where it's like he doesn't even try to cover up his lies. He just straight up blurts them out. Because he can control community notes. Because he can control community notes, nobody can ever correct him. Want to be your date to the new Deadpool movie? I just saw it the other day, Graham. I just saw it yesterday, but I'm not against going and seeing it again. I definitely give it another shake. Dude, it was so funny. It was so good, brother. Definitely worth seeing. Plus, I missed the end credits. So apparently, there's some jokes in the end credits that I missed that I need to go back and watch. But yeah, if you haven't seen Deadpool versus Wolverine or whatever, it's fantastic. Like, it is so good, and it's all the way through. It is absolutely all the way through. It's so good. Yeah, I went with Adam yesterday. So Adam said he got tickets for it like 3 weeks ago. I went with him, Robert, and Kat, and Jen, and we all met up at the Woodinville Cinema, and they had it in the laser projection room with the Dolby Atmos and everything. It was fantastic. Although the AC wasn't working properly, so it was really hot, and I had multiple anxiety attacks during the movie because I was having trouble breathing, and it was just like, because it was just so hot and dank in there, and I was having a little bit of anxiety from just being in public. Still working on that. Tutorial Clan said, as an ex-Microsoft employee, what do you think about the whole CrowdStrike blue screen of death? I think it was terrible. It should have never happened. It should have never happened. CrowdStrike literally is running kernel level code on your system and releasing updates to keep you protected from threats online, and they became the worst possible threat you could have themselves. That never should have happened. And Microsoft technically does share a little bit of blame because Microsoft signed their binaries, although, I mean, that's the only way they could have really worked. But the fact that Microsoft actually signed their driver, because remember, every time they release a build or an update, Microsoft has to allow the re-signing of that driver. So Microsoft basically signed off on a driver that obviously didn't have any fucking testing at all, that went out to the entire world and destroyed everything. So that should have never happened. Like, honestly, I would never trust CrowdStrike again. Like, that is something that should never happen at a company, because that means if this was able to happen, that means that their process for ensuring that everything that's sent down to the customers' computers is 100% is broken. So you can't trust them. Honestly, I'm sure that a lot of companies are already trying to find alternatives that transition away from them. Let's hear. Have you heard about the $10 gift card that CrowdStrike gave out of the... Wait, what? That can't be true. Wait. So CrowdStrike offered a $10 gift card to companies that literally lost millions of dollars, or hospitals or 911 call centers where people literally died. And they legit offered them a $10 gift card for their trouble. Oh my God. Honestly, they should have just done nothing. That's worse than nothing. That's actually an insult. That is beyond an insult. Oh my God. Seriously? Like, even if I wasn't going to sue them and I was just going to stop using their services, I would actually sue them over that. Like, that would be the straw that broke the camel's back for sure. Oh my God. That's fucked up. That is so fucked up. It was a $10 Uber Eats card. Dude, I hope you guys are joking. That is so fucking terrible. Wow. Oh, so Gentle Stone said it bypasses the qualification by using the same driver and updating the referenced file. Oh, so the driver remains the same old driver. Oh, so they're okay. I see what they're doing. So they're okay. So they're being little tricksters. They're basically just creating a driver that's a bootstrapper, and then the actual code that runs is outside of that, so they don't have to re-sign it every time they release an update. But the driver is the one actually executing the code in the external library or service. Wow, that's really shitty. That is super sneaky. that is bad. That, like, honestly, that seems like, I mean, this was a recipe for disaster. I'm surprised this didn't actually happen sooner, quite literally. That is some really dumb fucking workaround right there. Also, you'd think that would increase their attack surface, because that also means that third-party code could technically infiltrate the non-signed code if it was running at a low enough execution level, and could fuck with it, and the driver would still just be like, yeah, just run it. That's so dumb, dude. That's so dumb. Yeah, WCL certification ain't what it used to. As a matter of fact, when I first started at Microsoft, I worked on the Windows Hardware Quality Labs, certifying drivers and running the WCL test pass, or the WCL test kit, and everybody gamed it. Everybody gamed it. Not a single fucking driver that got WCL certification got it legitimately. They all knew how the tests worked ahead of time. They all knew how to game the tests. Hell, some people were so brazen that their driver would just detect if it was running with the test present and would just give the outputs the test was looking for without actually doing the thing it was supposed to do. So fucking stupid. The WCL certification was so easy to game. Graphics drivers did it the most. Like, that, if you ever wondered, like, back in the day why ATI graphics drivers and Nvidia graphics drivers and shit were, like, so unstable, it was because to pass the WCL certification process, they would just lie. Like, they would run the test, the driver would go, oh, if test running produced this result, and it would literally just crap out a false log. WCL would parse it and go, oh, it did what it was supposed to do, without actually checking to see if it actually did it. So fucking stupid, man. Oh my God. Yeah, Dave Plummer actually found himself in a little bit of controversy over the last couple days, if you guys didn't see that. So apparently he left Microsoft back in 2006, and he kind of like left this out of his, he wasn't quite honest in his book, but he basically left Microsoft back in like 2005, 2006 to start his own company called Software Online that basically was installing shovelware and fucking memory doublers and all kinds of like scam applications that would like trick you into buying a premium membership into an app that was just rogueware that ultimately did nothing very useful. And yeah, I could see why he left that out of his whole how I became a millionaire, even though that was like the most significant thing he did to make a bunch of money. And then his response to it is, and he got sued by the state and had to pay like $160,000 penalty, but obviously he made so many millions off of it, it didn't matter. So he focused on that side of it and just completely ignored the whole side, which is like the software he was peddling and selling to people. It was like scammy. It was scammy as fuck. Like, you'd install it and it'd be like, oh, free piece of software, and you'd run it, and then it'd like do 20 things and be like, oh, I found a whole bunch of, you know, broken things in your registry, even on a brand new clean installed Windows XP build. And then you'd say, oh, fix them. It'd fix like 20 of them and say, oh, you got to buy the premium version to fix the other 20. And then even if you bought the premium version, let it fix all of them, reboot the computer and run it again, it would just find all the same errors again. So yeah, it was, so yeah, he was peddling some pretty fucking trashy placebo shit. And so it didn't really surprise me though, because the whole reason we used to follow each other on Twitter, and the only reason we stopped following each other is because we had a debate one day on Twitter where he was defending Elon Musk doing illegal insider trading shit to make more money, only have to pay a $20 million fine to the SEC while making like billions of dollars by artificially fucking with a stock and hurting a lot of his investors. And he took the stance of, oh, don't hate Elon Musk, hate the game. Like, you should celebrate Elon Musk for being able to break the system and abuse the system and use his massive wealth and influence to work around the system. That should be celebrated. And I was like, that's a really weird stance for a self-made millionaire himself to make, unless he was doing similar shit. And so, you know, it's kind of confirmed usually. And I was so surprised when he took that stance. And then we had another argument right after that about, you know, should people in dangerous areas where the police can't respond very well, can they have a gun to defend themselves if people break into their house and threaten their lives? And he's like, absolutely not. Well, he lives in like a gated community with armed guards and like 24/7 police presence, you know, in a multi-million-dollar neighborhood. And it's like, well, that's not very fair for you to take that stance and deny other people's safety when you literally have like an armed detail around you at all time protecting you and your family because you're so fucking rich, you know? So anyways, he ended up unfollowing me. I unfollowed him a long time ago. And it just left a really bad taste in my mouth. I was actually like, damn, because I used to like him. Don't get me wrong, his videos are good. He does make good content, although a lot of the stuff that he claims that he did at Microsoft turns out that he didn't do. like that was also uncovered in the video. But yeah, it kind of surprised me that, you know, he's like, he writes a book about how he became a millionaire and everything. He talks kind of about the software company apparently, but he doesn't go into the depths of like he made the majority of his money by fooling people into buying software that didn't really benefit them. So, but anyways, draw your own conclusions, look into it, but I'm not interested in him anymore. Like the way he's acting, the position he takes, and you know, he's also obviously a Trump supporter and shit, and it's just like things just kept adding up, and I'm like, this isn't like, he left Microsoft as a developer to go and do something really fucking skeezy to make a lot of money, so I kind of like know where he stands, and that's just not me. It's not something that I'm compatible with. Let's hear. James Janus said, do you know a Dave's Garage on YouTube claims to be an ex-Microsoft Windows developer and a pretty big developer? Yeah, our careers overlapped. I think I started in 2000 and he left, I think, in 2004 or 2005. So and we both worked within the same organization. I'm sure he looks very familiar, so I was sure that we crossed paths a couple times. He even said that we might have crossed paths in emails and some meetings. But yeah, I'd wondered like why he left Microsoft. You know, I was like, yo, what'd you do after leaving Microsoft? Because it seemed like there was a really big hole there, the way he explains it in his YouTube channel. And it turns out he ran a company called Software Online that did a lot of really skeezy things and wrote a lot of software for that company that did some skeezy things. And so, but again, dude, go do your own research. Go look into it if you're interested. The video is out there. I think it's called like Dave Plummer, How He Scammed Millions. Draw your own conclusion. Obviously, there's white knights on his side defending him. There's people that are, you know, really taken back by this, like me. It's like, draw your own conclusions. But at the end of the day, you know, his YouTube content is decent. He has some good YouTube videos, and he does a good job of heavily scripting everything. So he just reads it off the screen, you know, and doesn't skip a beat. So he's good at, like, you know, pre-scripting things and getting his facts in line and everything. So as long as he's not freestyling, you know, the content's pretty good. But I can't look past, you know, the fact that, you know, he made his fortune and, you know, doing stuff like that, and then celebrates Elon Musk making his fortune by doing equally skeezy things and taking advantage of people. I can't really like people that celebrate other people taking advantage of people, like, if that makes sense. Like, I don't like that. And there's some people that don't agree with that. Some people think that, oh no, taking advantage of other people and like tricking them into giving them your money, that's like, that should be celebrated, and that makes you a great businessman. And I don't believe that for a second. I believe that just makes you a criminal, honestly. You're a, you know, yeah, maybe the law can't hold you to an account because our legal system's fucked up and there's two tiers of justice for rich people and poor people. But at the same time, it's like, I can't respect that. I really can't. Oh, he didn't blame it on being on the spectrum or anything like that. It's just apparently he left a lot of details out of his book, which is like how he became a millionaire on the spectrum. So he basically, you know, he's like, oh, I'm on the spectrum and I made millions of dollars, but he didn't really like go into depth on how he made the millions of dollars by peddling applications to people that were rogueware. But again, why is he filthy rich and why am I, you know, going poor? I mean, that's unfortunately how our society works today, is you're always going to get more attention and more money and more views if you just lie to people than telling them the truth, right? It's like if I tell somebody the truth about Trump and I give them all the receipts and they're a Trump supporter, they just leave because they're hearing something they don't want to hear, even though it's true. They'd rather just hear a lie. And so they go to the people that are also dishonest that will tell them exactly what they want to hear, right? Instead of the truth. And that's just how it is. And I accept that. I mean, well, you have to accept it. There's no way around it. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. What he does today on YouTube, like just making videos and like showing people cool stuff, I mean, I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. And honestly, I'd rather him be doing that now than running like crypto schemes and NFT schemes and, you know, running rogueware sites, selling software to people that doesn't really do what it says. And yeah. You always figured it was the Microsoft stock options. Oh, I'm sure he made a lot on the options too. No doubt he made a lot on the options, but not enough to be living the lifestyle that he's still living today. Not by a long shot. Let's see here. Jerry, how's your Truth Social going? I got banned on day 2. So my first Truth Social account got banned without them even telling me or notifying me. The second account got banned within 24 hours, and they won't tell me why they banned me. So Truth Social just bans any account that holds Donald Trump liable. So for anything, even if they give full receipts and everything, they just ban them and just don't tell them why. It's a fake social media platform. It should be called Liar Social because they literally just ban anybody that doesn't prop up Trump. And that's also why they only have less than 1% of the traffic that X does, even though X also fluffs Trump. And is incredibly extremist, right-wing leaning. Elon is as mega as they come. And Truth Social still only gets 1% of the traffic of that because any people that aren't 100% cultish on Trump and think he's Jesus Christ, they just get punted off the platform, like without question. Let's see here. How do you, James Jana said with how you guys were talking about ARM, I am not a fan of ARM. I prefer ARMS. Oh, 2 arms instead of ARM. Okay, I get it. That's not always the case. People like Mr. Beast and Pirate Software went viral because of good stuff they've done. Yes and no. Yes and no. It turns out if you go back into Jimmy's past, he actually, a lot of his fame came from some bad shit too. But don't get me wrong. I mean, the philanthropy he does today is absolutely amazing. But if you go back and look at Mr. Beast's past, I mean, he used to be like, he did the same thing that a lot of other people did incredibly edgy content, said incredibly fucked up things that did rile him up and build him a base of like young people that wanted to follow him because he was super fucking edgy and he would do anything to get views. Pirate Software, sure. Pirate Software is amazing. Like as far as I know, Pirate Software that I know of hasn't done anything bad. But Pirate Software also isn't like hyper famous, right? He's up there. Like here, let me go look. How many people does he have? Pirate Software. Let's see how many followers he has. Okay, I mean he has a good 2.7 million or 2.07 million. Hell yeah. Yeah, he's doing great. So yeah, no, Pirate Software is doing it right. So, and not to say you can't do it right. You can. You absolutely can do it right. But again, you definitely got to find your niche. You got to make sure that YouTube is going to promote what you're doing, that what you're doing isn't taking any hits from the algorithm itself. And he seems to have found like a really good niche. So yeah, I'd say Pirate Software is definitely the person that I would say, wait, he's in Washington? I didn't know that. Oh, dude, I got to go meet this dude. I really like his stuff. Yeah, it is possible. Definitely possible. How am I feeling? A lot better, Colin B. Still hurt. Like right now, I'm starting to fidget around and stuff because my back's starting to really build pain. But I mean, I was able to sit here for 3 hours. So it's definitely getting better finally. But only the last 2 days has it improved. My wife's finally getting my blood pressure meds filled that I haven't had for 2 months. And my allopurinol that I haven't had for my gout for a long time. So I'm hoping getting back on that and having that regularly available to me again is going to help me improve even more. So, oh man. Wasn't there 2 people hosting this? And then we talked about Trump and he left? No, he didn't leave because of Trump. He left because he had to go find something for his wife. So, no, he doesn't mind. He just doesn't like talking about politics because it's so divisive to an audience. And I generally don't even like talking about politics. Sadly, I had to get involved in this because of the threat that Trump poses. Like a lot of people think that it's just an opinion that I have, like, oh, I'm just a Democrat, so I have to defend Democrats. And it's like, no, I was very critical of Joe Biden also. It's just I see Trump for the real threat he is. He's so many firsts. He's the only president that's ever led an insurrection. He's the only president that's run that had 34 felonies, who's convicted of rape, and who was also named, flying on the Lolita Express with like one of the most notorious pedophiles in history, while publicly admitting that he watched underage girls undress without their permission at his own pageants because they couldn't question it because he owned the pageant and he did the voting, so they had to tolerate it. He bragged about that publicly. He bragged about his daughter being a hot piece of ass and saying that he had sex in common with her as far as the thing they're both good at. I mean, it's so fucked up. The list is so long of the things Trump has done that he's just a fucking raging sex offender. He's a fucking criminal. He's a mobster. And people still vote for him, and it scares me. It scares me that we live in a world where people would vote for somebody who is that evil. Like, we've never had a presidential candidate in the history of our entire country that has been that fucking toxic. Like, the dude straight up just says to the camera, if you vote for me, I will make sure you never have to vote again. He said this just the other night. He said, if you vote for me this last time and get me into the White House, you will never have to vote again because I'm going to fix the system so that I pick the president. so that there will never have to be another vote again. The system will be so fixed that you won't even have to worry about it. Christians will just dominate the United States, and we'll be a Christian nationalist country for the rest of time. It's like, holy shit, man. This guy is literally saying the quiet part out loud every fucking day. And now, like, DEI is just the new N-word. Like, DEI used to actually mean something and have a meaning. And that's been completely stripped away because Trump has completely reworked the word into an N-word. Anywhere he would normally say the N-word, he just says DEI now. It's fucking terrible, man. I'm done with this shit. Like, it scares me that my son is growing up in a world that has this many people that worship a person that is that evil. And under the guise of God, they literally think Jesus sent him. They literally believe. He even said the other night to a whole bunch of Christians that he's not Christian. Even though he said he was Christian since his whole running for 2016, that he's a Christian, Jesus sent him here. All the Christian churches propped him up and said Jesus sent him. He's like, and then last night he's like, I'm not even a Christian, but vote for me anyways because I'll make sure that you guys rule everything. It's like, oh my fucking God. So, but that's the thing is, it's like not even an opinion. It's like I can show receipts for every one of these things. It's not even just like a speculative opinion. Oh, maybe it's misunderstood. Maybe it's this. Oh, maybe it was taken out of context. No, I can actually show you systematically every single receipt of the things Trump said, the things he's done, the lies he's been caught in, all of it across the board. And it's all like terrible, terrible shit leading up to criminal counts by a jury of his peers, all the way up to rape charges against him. It's like, oh my fucking God. Like, if you consider yourself a Christian and you're actively voting for a convicted fucking rapist that flew 7 times on the Lolita Express with Jeffrey Epstein with underage girls on board, when you're saying shit like Jeffrey Epstein's amazing to hang out with and he really likes beautiful girls that are on the younger side, like, holy shit, brother. Like, you are self-fucking admitting to all the crimes you're doing. And the Christians are just ignoring it. La, 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 la. Because Trump's like, if you vote for me, I'll give you power. And they're just taking him on his word. Fucking disgusting. Hey, Balliet Brand, good to see you, brother. You said you mentioned it before, if I'm right, you being atheist and your wife being Christian, if I recall. How does that work out? Pretty good. Because unlike Trump Christians, which are fake Christians that don't actually believe in God and don't even read the Bible, they just make up shit that isn't in the Bible to control other people that also claim to be Christian while not reading the Bible. My wife has actually read the Bible, and my wife actually understands that, like, God is good. God isn't a fucking evil sex offender that's like drooling for power and money, right? He's not a person that needs a shitload of money. So my wife, even though we have different views on God, we can have our individual views and be just fine because she's not fighting for a God who's a warlord, right? She's not fighting to be like, she doesn't feel like I have to be like this Christian person that props up rapists and stuff like that to get into heaven, right? But even she hates Trump, right? I mean, she's a proper Christian and hates Trump, right? She's a Christian that has a direct relationship with God that doesn't need a middleman who wears like fancy garb and fucking takes tax-free money and spends it on BMWs and hookers and blow, right? She's not that kind of Christian. She's a proper Christian. She's what a Christian should be. QA Library said, Jerry, when you get your blood pressure machine tested, it can be 40% out. Oh no, my wife tested it too to calibrate it, and it actually matches her settings with the doctor, so it's all good. So we made sure it was within spec. I'm pretty sure Mr. Beast doesn't want to be on social media right now. What's going on with their partner in crime? You know what? It really sucks. Mr. Beast is put in a really hard situation right now because like he's literally having to call his lifelong friend a piece of shit and distance himself from him. And that's got to be hard. So, but he's doing the right thing. Mr. Beast is absolutely doing the right thing. I know there's a lot of people that just want to like find a reason to take down the king. But he's doing the right thing given the circumstances, and I have to give him credit for that because he doesn't have to do that. He could just continue to defend him just because he's his friend and he can't believe that these things are actually happening. It's like he's looking at the situation for what it is. He's looking at it objectively, and he's making the move that he needs to make. So got to give some credit there. I'm curious to see how the investigation turns out though, because that actually ended up being really bad. I just hate that Mega is trying to use this as like an explanation as like why trans people are bad. And it's like, no, that doesn't make any sense. You know, that's like taking the Westboro Baptist Church, like the one guy that fucking like raped all the people in the church or whatever, and saying, oh, because this happened here, it happens absolutely everywhere with everybody else. It's like, no, that's not how that works. That's like saying because Dr. Disrespect was like trying to diddle a youngster that every single streamer on earth is doing that. Like anybody that's ever streamed or made a YouTube video is doing that. That's like, it just doesn't make sense. But people like to do that because if they hate somebody, they like to loop them in with a bucket of other things that they hate and try to take them all down as a group. It's sad. But I'd say that given the situation, Mr. Beast is doing the right thing But Mr. Beast is going to lose a lot. Like, I can tell you right now, Mr. Beast is in a situation where, like, no matter how this turns out, he is going to lose, you know, tens of millions of dollars because his friend put him in this situation. And that's terrible. Like, you can't call yourself somebody's friend when you're doing those kind of things. Like, he knows that his actions will affect Mr. Beast. And he knew that even back then his actions would affect Mr. Beast. If not then, at some point, right? And that sucks to put your friend in that situation. But I also believe that's possible that, you know, that Mr. Beast knew about a lot of this early on. Not the stuff that's happening right now, the straw that broke the camel's back, but like the bad shit that he used to say and do back in the day. I believe that Mr. Beast was aware of that because if you go back far enough, Mr. Beast was saying and doing the same things on his live stream and being just as fucking vulgar, and people just ignored all that history, right? Because Mr. Beast transitioned from that into a more family-friendly channel because he realized he had to do that to make more money and to get more viewers. And Mr. Beast was always about getting more viewers. Like, Mr. Beast only cared about entertaining people, whatever it takes, whether it be, you know, if it's during the vulgar era or the drama era, whatever it takes to entertain the most people to grow the fastest. Any money that came out of the business, he just put back into the business to make it grow as fast as possible because he wanted to be the best YouTuber on the entire planet. That's all he ever wanted. And so he did whatever it took to the ends to justify those means, right? So, oh, wow. Another picture of Trump's ear just released. Check this one out. This is from the back. Absolutely no damage. Bandages removed. Not even a week. There is no visible damage. There is no scarring. There is nothing. The whole thing was just he took a little blood from like a nick and fucking played it off as his ear completely exploding. And so everybody's like, oh, he was so brave to stand up and pump his fist with all those Secret Service people creating a shield after they said that the shooter was already dead and cleared. It's like, no, he saw that as an opportunity to take his little nick and keep his hand over his ear and hide it. So he could be like, hey, guys, my ear got blown off. You have to look at me. I almost died. And what sadly is that took away from the actual firefighter that did die, the person that was behind him that took his bullet for him and actually died. And that guy, what did that guy get? A fucking GoFundMe created by somebody other than Trump that he didn't even put any money into himself. Well, he sold $299 sneakers a full 24 hours before even contacting the widow to give his respects. Like, seriously, selling fucking sneakers for $290 from China that haven't even been designed yet. They just had a quick Photoshop him pumping his fist on it with no view of the firefighter, not talking about the firefighter at all, not allocating any of the proceeds from the sales to the firefighter's family. Just absolute piece of shit. And there's people out there calling themselves Christian with a cross around their neck claiming that supporting him is the Christian thing to do. No, it's like they are following Satan. And they know it. They know it. They just don't care, right? They don't believe in God. Marjorie Taylor Greene has never believed in God. Not for a day in her life. Same thing with Lauren Boebert. These people don't believe in God. They just wear the idols, right? The Bible even warns you of the people that wear false idols to project themselves as something more that they know that they aren't, to manipulate you. So if you are Christian, you actually read the Bible, you should see these people for who they are. But the fact that there's so many people that don't see them for who they are, I'm starting to question how many people have actually read the Bible that call themselves a Christian. It's like calling yourself a Harry Potter enthusiast when you've never read any of the books or watched any of the movies. You just know of the name Harry Potter and know that it's popular. So you use it to manipulate people. So fucking stupid, man. All right, guys, I'm going to have to wrap it up because my back is actually hurting pretty fucking bad right now. So I think I pushed the absolute limit of how much I could sit up today. But it was more than I could sit up yesterday. So things are improving. So I'm very happy with that. You guys, I appreciate you hanging out today. It means the world to me. Gaming Maddie Rock said, I'm a Christian. I don't like Trump. That's because you're a real Christian. There's a big difference between Trump supporters aren't Christians. Not a single Trump supporter actually believes in God, especially not the people that present themselves as pastors and running churches and stuff. They're all just crime bosses, right? They just use Trump and Trump uses them to control people that think they're devout, that also don't believe in God. They just know that they can use it to create a false ranking system so that they can abuse the people underneath them. That's all it is. You're trans and belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I don't like Trump. Holy shit. How the hell can you be trans and Mormon? The Mormons shit on trans people almost worse than any other religion that I know of. You must go to like a church that's broken off from like the Idaho or the Idaho Mormons. Because the Mormon Empire, just like the Catholic Empire, do not accept trans or gay or anything. Like they are incredibly unsupportive. So I'm glad that you found a church though that decided not to follow the canon and they do their own thing. That's fantastic. All right, guys, I'm gonna call it. Valiant, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. The network guy said the Mormons must think he's a Satan secret agent. Dude, half my family's Mormon, so that's how I know their views on gays and queer and trans. But I think it's cool that Gaming Maddie Rocks is a part of a Mormon community that doesn't follow canon, that kind of broke off and did their own thing. There's also a lot of Christian and Catholic churches that did that too, where they broke with the empire that claim that they're the gatekeepers of that religion and kind of like created their own version of it that they believe, right? So, because at the end of the day, that's all religion is, right? God is just whatever you make up in your mind, right? Is God the universe? Is God a person? Is God a being? It's like, but from my perspective, it's like, I don't follow any Christian-based religion, none of the Abrahamic religions, because they all basically say that God has the power to perform miracles and save people, yet he chooses not to save the most vulnerable of the people, and he chooses to let the most devout people and the most innocent people suffer the most, while giving the most help to the people that are rich that can help themselves. So that just tells me that it's the whole gallon of milk greatest illusion in the world, where you just that you just blame God for anything good and you blame Satan for anything bad. And if you have a lot of money and you can take care of yourself and you have good health insurance, well, then God just favors you more because you can save yourself. And if you're just dying outside and you're homeless and you help little kittens cross the street and shit and you've never done a bad thing in your life, well, you're just a satanic worshiper and God hates you because you've forsaken him, even though you've actually done everything that would require you to be a good Christian as far as the Bible's concerned. It's truly sad. Let's hear. Hey, bud, been lurking. Have a great day. Hey, Joe Taji, thank you for the $10, man. Woo! Let's hear. Nope, I don't, but we don't for gay. I am from the OG. I don't think I understand. Okay, I'm trans among the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, and I don't like Trump. Let's hear. OG. Nope, I don't, but we don't for the gay. I am from the OG. I don't think I understand Gaming Matty Rocks. Maybe you can explain more over on X. You can tag me after the stream. Yeah, because I'd say, because my family is OG Mormon, and the church, the church and the tabernacle in Idaho and Ohio are definitely not supportive of gay marriage, not supportive of trans. So, but whatever group you're a part of, the fact that they accept that and they don't try to, like, you know, pray the gay away on you or try to make you feel like you're not getting into the celestial temple or whatever, because you get, I'm glad that you don't have that pushed down on you. Like, that would be fucking terrible. No break off. No break off. So I'm interested. Why are you a part of a church that doesn't like you? Because if you didn't break off and you're actually in like an original gangster Mormon church in a faith that doesn't accept trans or gay people, like, that's got to feel really bad. Because I mean, the OG Mormonism, like the actual tabernacle in Salt Lake City, right, and the university there is not friendly to trans people as far as them getting into the celestial temple and as far as that being good. So I'm trying to figure out, like, how you're a member of the OG Mormon church without any of those persecutions. I'd be interested. I'm definitely interested to know, though. Like, definitely tag me on X and point me towards some information, because that's definitely something new to me, because everything I know about the Mormon side of my family that lives in Salt Lake City, that's frowned upon. Do you think AI will be conscious someday? Well, it depends on what you define as consciousness. A lot of people define consciousness as a biological construct, and if that's the case, then AI is not going to ever be conscious. But if you describe conscious as having all of the attributes that would make you believe that something else is conscious, like their actions are random enough and make enough sense that they do appear to be unique, then yes, I do believe it'll be conscious. As a matter of fact, I believe that it's not that many years away from being conscious based on that description. Hey, Valia Brand, thank you for the $10. I appreciate it. Woo! Woo! But check the render I sent on Signal. It's being built by a trans member of the community, and it's 8K. Yeah, I'll check it out. Cool Gaming Matty Rocks. Yeah, no, I'd love to see more information, because if you're a member of like the OG church in Salt Lake City Tabernacle, attending the university, Brigham Young University, and you're fully accepted as trans, and you can get into the Celestial Temple, and you can marry whoever you want, regardless of gender or race, without persecution or anything. I'd love to hear more about that, because the official stance on the church has not reflected that at all. So I'm curious, like, if that's like some other like single part of it, or a group of people that are just choosing not to follow the doctrine of the elders. I'm curious, very curious, because their stance has not been good on that. Let's see here. Because I know in the Mormon faith, it's like if you're raised as a female, you're expected to marry and have kids and be subservient to your husband. And if you're a biological male, then you're expected to take a biological female and have children, as many children as possible, because those children basically become your kind of like your servants in the Celestial Temple. And you want to try to get everybody into the temple, because if you don't, and they're on a different plane of existence, then you don't get to talk to them in the afterlife, and you basically lose them. So that's where it starts becoming complicated, when you're like, you're LGBTQ, trans, like that starts creating problems for that doctrine. However, technically, according to the Mormon, the one good thing about the Mormon faith is, even if you fucking murder children and violate like the worst possible thing that you can, then you just go to a hell for like 1,000,000 years and study, and then you get to go back to a higher plane, not to the Celestial Temple, but to like one of the lower planes. So at least there's a get out of hell card. Like there's nothing, like even Hitler, if Hitler was Mormon, he technically could get out of hell after like studying and taking tests for like a couple thousand years or whatever. So that's interesting, because not a lot of Christian faiths have that, or not a lot of Abrahamic faiths have that. Usually once you're in hell, you're in hell for good. Like there's no getting out of it, right? So Mormons are one of the few religions where it's like, as long as you're willing to do the book work and do the time and take the tests or whatever, you can technically get out of hell. All right, guys, I'm gonna take off. It has been great. I gotta go downstairs and take some medicine and lay myself up and let my back start recouping. But you guys have been awesome. I love your faces, and hopefully I catch you this week on Twitch. The fact that I'm sitting more and more, and the TENS device is actually able to manage the pain again, is a big deal. So I hope to see you guys this week on Twitch. Maybe Elon is Mormon. No, Elon's just a piece of shit, period. Elon thinks he is God. All right. Take it easy, guys. Till next time. Later.